the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It really was. You're always surprising me. Like, yeah, you're that guy who, hey, do you know how to play this song up here? Nah, I don't really know. Then they go,
it's like Garth from Wayne's World. I like to play. You remember when he's on the drum kit?
Yeah.
I'll see if I can fix it in post, as they say. So how are you guys this morning?
Doing good. I mentioned before Phil popped on with us. This is like our roots. This is where we started with Barroom. When I started anyway, the Sunday mornings and everybody's sipping on coffee. And then we did that night show. And I'm like, man, I think we're a lot better at night. But this is good. Giving the fans some surprises and popping in when there's some breaking news and, you know, press conferences and stuff like that. So this is fun.
Yeah. Phil, how you doing? I understand that you had a night by the fire last night.
Oh, yeah. Much needed, like, night out where the teenage girls can actually watch the toddlers. And Steph and I, it was like a little date night. We kept 6 feet apart, socially distancing. But it was really nice to sit by the fire, see your family, and chat a little bit about what's going on in the world. And there was a Packer fan there who's actually a fan of the show. Look at this.
Wow.
We cross all, you know,
boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries. We're the anti-politician. We're so politically incorrect that everybody fucking loves us, including the British and the Scottish and the fucking Brazilians. I got such a nice message from someone from England. Damn it. I think his name is Phil. And he was just like, you guys.
One of your burner accounts?
Not one of my burners. I'll ask him permission.
Sorry.
Hey, we keep it on.
I was driving the Thunder Sunday morning.
Yes, 9 years ago, I had burners. Everybody else was doing it. Unfortunately, Mike Brez thinks he's a fucking superhero.
Yeah, but motherfucker, you were wishing yourself Merry Christmas and shit.
Sometimes you not sitting there fucking.
You were next level, Phil. You were on that next.
Think outside the
box. You were the new
gonna,
frontier.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta act it. I mean,
although that's where that echo was coming from. Phil was talking to himself on Twitter.
Phil took method acting classes, and so when he
exactly
full in, brother,
you gotta fucking go in. I mean, there's people out there that are still carrying burners, and they're fine. They live their life. That's fine.
It's half my followers, Phil. Don't hate on them. Thank you very much. I don't mind. They follow me. I'm like, boop, just another. That's fine. Go make as many as you guys want.
But I honestly am so relieved to not be on Twitter, to see even these Khalil Mack takes make me want to vomit. So it's like, it's better off that I'm not there fighting with Joey Butterbeans and I'm here having a voice and you could see me. There's no more let's make extra accounts. I'm just gonna live my life right in the forefront, and I don't quit with the heat. I actually stay on the show and own my shit and stay.
Tell us about the Phil from England guy.
Oh yeah, he was just saying, please don't change whatever you guys do. Patreon, I'm in 100%. You guys have saved me. Actually, this past weekend, I've gotten so many nice emails and DMs. Anthony Sasso, I'm going to shout him out early so I don't forget.
Oh, the show's over, guys.
Exactly. Him and his girlfriend listen to the show. He used to listen to Audible or something, the Chicago, and he's like, bro, I found you guys. I watched the Tape Never Lies. I found you guys, and now I'm hooked. He's like, me and my girlfriend listen. In fact, he's going to buy his girlfriend some barroom swag to wear so she can model it for us, because he's so amped up about the show. That was what he was right. I mean, it's a long. I sent the message to Shane so he could verify it wasn't a burner. I'm just
I can. It's all good. He's 100% accurate.
How many people, though, real quick, just do something, then they're embarrassed by it, and they're like, fuck it, I'm done with it, and do it 100%. They 100% give up on it.
Oh, 100%. I think every person has that moment where they look back on something in their life and they remember something they did or said in front of people, and they're like, fuck me. Why did I do that?
Exactly.
We had one of those moments on our debut.
No regrets.
No regrets, Ryan Pace. No regrets. Yeah.
But before we get into the news, are we going to announce the major breaking news here at Bears Barroom with Greg Braggs and his internet?
Yeah.
Greg, you wanna inform the masses on the good news?
Well, I guess I'll let the listeners guess. I was at 5 Mbps's. I still haven't solved the backing up from the mic issue, so let me back up a little bit. But if you want to guess, in the chat room, I was at 5 MPBS's last week for Bears 100 Proof. Guess how many MPBS's I'm currently at now in the Braggs residence. We'll see if anybody can get it here in the chat.
56. That's my guess.
That's low.
I can't guess.
All right, do this. We'll make a contest out of it. Whoever guesses it,
I
will buy a Barroom t-shirt.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Whoever gets the number
until the end of the show, right?
That's right. Until somebody gets it, I'll try to monitor.
It's got to be the actual number, correct?
All right, I'll go check it to make sure it was.
Wow, you're getting a lot of fucking numbers, bro. You're not right.
I know. They're just gonna start from 1 and just start going down the list.
We're gonna start at 70.
George just started a mock draft with Mbps speeds.
Holy cow.
We've upgraded. That's all I could say.
I'll give the fans a hint to make it easy, because we're getting a lot of crazy numbers and we need the chat to get back to Bears talk. The number is the name of a band that used to play back in the 90s.
Well, that's easy.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Not everybody's musically inclined, Shane.
So somebody's gonna cheat here.
Well, there's
a
lot.
Numbers.
There's a lot of different numbers. Like Phil probably listened to a lot of 98 Degrees.
Yeah, give me one 98 Degrees song. What did they sing? It was a great song. It was like I did sing it at a karaoke bar once.
They were hot for one summer.
98 Degrees. Wasn't that the dude who dated Tony Romo? What's her name?
Somebody said 180 Blink 182.
Blink 182.
Oh wait, I think we got the correct answer in the chat.
I just took a screenshot of it in case you didn't see
it. Got it?
I believe my boy GSH Jeff was the first to get it. Let me double check here. Yeah, GSH Jeff was the first to get it on YouTube.
Throw it up on the screen.
Ryan Schlanzer was right behind him. But my boy GSH Jeff, who's a huge...
GSH Jeff, write it down again. Throw it in there.
He's a huge Purdue Boilermaker fan, too, by the way. 666.
I saw that, too.
That's right. So for the ones that aren't reading the chat, my MPBS internet speed is now from 5 to 311. So let us never speak of this problem again.
311. He's beat all of us.
Greg, you're friends with him. Have him tell you what shirt he wants and
I'll get him that. Yeah, we'll get Jeff a Barroom shirt, and then I'll get him a Purdue shirt because I know how big of a Purdue fan he is. That. Yeah,
and
that's the kind of guy I am.
And if he lives internationally, then Shane, are you picking up the shipping cost too?
He's from. I'll do it. Yeah, I don't care.
It's not.
But yeah, just Acevedo, reach out to me and tell me what I got to send you.
Money.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, Jeff.
Busy with the damn virus.
It is, man. It's busy time.
Throw him in you want to send him a Fat Mike t-shirt?
That's right. Get him the Fat Mike, the Shy Fans, Barfly Tailgate. You getting everything but the 100-proof shirt.
Oh, he's taking a shot back at Shane. Interesting.
I'm on my toes today.
Good. We move on and talk a little football because Matt Nagy met with the media. He had a Zoom press conference on late Friday afternoon, and we've selected a handful of sound bites to discuss. And then he also had a meeting on ESPN Radio, which Greg was super nice enough to select some clips for us to discuss. And it was an excellent interview. Our friends over at Waddle and Sylvie. And by the way, our friends over at ESPN, they deserve your listenership. The Waddle and Sylvie show, Yurko show, the Catman and so forth. Give them a listen, retweet their stuff. I looked at the ratings the other day, and the Score Sports Radio is I'm not going to bash those guys what they do, but the discrepancy in the ratings is totally to me, it shouldn't be that way. What the guys at ESPN 1000 do is outstanding work, and the only reason they're getting the poor ratings that they get is because they're obligated to do this national show in the beginning of the day. And no offense to the national show, but Chicago is a very provincial town, and so that kind of sets up bad ratings for the rest of the day because we just don't get, people don't keep it on the dial. Because they're in the morning because they're not on there. They're listening to the other sports stations. So Please give a listen to those guys. I know Greg is a huge follower of ESPN 1000. Greg, you want to add to that?
Yeah, they've been real awesome to me. I've been a loyal listener for it feels like 20 years now, but they've been just a staple of Chicago sports radio. Them and 670 obviously battle it out. Some guys are one side and some guys are the other. I've always been an ESPN loyalist, or as a P1 as they call it, when you put on your radio presets in your car, the preset one. That's why they call them the P1s. I am definitely a P1, and they have been so gratuitous to us here at Bears Barroom. So they definitely deserve our praise here. Every single guy we ask to come on from any show, they come on with open arms. Sylvie, for God's sakes, came on right after his diagnosis, and all these guys have just been so good to us. And Mike North obviously does the odds couple with Carmen DeFalco. So a lot of connections. Fat Mike and Bear Lissimo are frequent callers of the David Kaplan show. So a lot of ties between ESPN 1000 and Bears Barroom, and we're really grateful for that. So definitely appreciative, and shout out to you, ESPN 1000.
By the way, gratuitous means uncalled for, lacking good reason, unwarranted, something like gratuitous violence. So I think the word you meant was gracious.
Gratuitous? Doesn't that mean... Gratuitous means you're giving, very giving.
Fucker speeds up his internet. Now he thinks he's a goddamn scholar.
Google it. Gratuitous means you're giving. You're charitable.
Oh, okay.
Gracious. That's gracious.
There's also gratuitous.
I
didn't just pull that out of my head out of nowhere.
I think you pulled it out of someplace else. Hey, Aldo, before we move off the Score and ESPN, back on April 23rd, I actually forgot all about this. I pulled a clip on the Mully and David Haw and the Mully show, or whatever it's called. I happened to be listening that day.
Company.
No. It's Mully and Haw.
On 670 to Score.
Right.
You're confusing me.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So they were talking about Bears draft picks and stuff like that, and how a lot of these guys have, you don't know who they are and stuff like that. And out of the blue, Mully goes, there's so many of these guys that you would know them, if you saw them, but they never did anything on the field. And do you remember the Bears fullback, J.D. Runnels?
Mm-hmm.
Remember he had that, I don't want to sound rude here. I don't know what the name of it is, but he had the skin pigmentation.
Yeah, we were just talking
issue.
What is it called? Deja something.
Yeah, Michael Jackson had it. Sammy Sosa allegedly has it. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
but he's got the spots all over his face and whatever. Well, Mully starts talking and he goes, "Yeah, you had a guy like." These guys that you don't know, and then Haw says, "Yeah, don't stop picking on J.D. Runnels." And Mully chimes in and goes, "Well, at least we remember what that kid looked like." I pulled I have the audio here on my. I have the audio here on my phone. I can't believe I forgot about it, but I'm like, that's fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's the kind of radio you get.
Yeah, but so stick with us. We'll get you where you need to go.
Yeah. Actually, that's kind of a joke that you would say, Shane.
Yeah, it is. But I would probably even throttle back a little bit if I was on a national.
But not about a bear. Not about a former bear, Aldo.
Right.
I don't think he would have went there on that kid though. Not
Shane. Like that. I mean, I'm not making fun of people's
if I had
and stuff like that. But
if I had it, Shane would make fun of me every day.
If he was Mike Glennon, I think it would happen. Yes.
Yeah. But either way, I thought that was a little bit ridiculous myself.
Without a doubt. All right. And by the way, one other thing before we get to the Matt Nagy interviews and sound bites for us to react to. Condolences to the McCaskey family. I'm going to read this from the Chicago Tribune, Brad Biggs column. Michael McCaskey, who took over the reins of the Chicago Bears from his grandfather, George Halas, in 1983, before the team achieved its greatest moment 2 years later, died Saturday. He was 76. McCaskey became the president and CEO of the Bears after Halas's death in October 1983, taking over for the team who founded the franchise and co-founded the NFL and remained at the helm of the organization in a 27-year run, serving as the chairman of the board from 1999 until 2011 when he stepped down and was replaced by his brother George. So condolences from all of us here at the Bar Room for the loss of Mr. McCaskey. Virginia, I know you don't listen to the show, and I don't blame you, but we're thinking about you. We're thinking about his children and the entire McCaskey family. So our hearts go out to you. Anything you guys want to add before we move on?
No, you said it perfectly.
Thank you.
I would like to add some adjectives for gratuitous. And as you said, unjustified, unwarranted, unprovoked, undue, without reason are some adjectives, but also free, complimentary, and we got voluntary, volunteer. So
the internet's breaking up. What'd you say, Greg?
I said complimentary, volunteer, voluntary. So I was right in my usage.
I never claimed to be the smartest man in the bar room.
Yeah, Greg.
I grew up with an English major. Shout out to one Barb.
Hey, Barb.
I admit my error and I apologize. And by the way, my wife asked if you could get up really, really close to the camera so that she can get a good look at your blue eyes. There you go. There you go. See, she's fucking terrified right now. All right, let's listen to some Matt Nagy. I'm a little concerned now with the echo that we had in the beginning of the show, so I'm hoping that this first Matt Nagy soundbite doesn't echo on us. If it does, we'll try to deal with it. But this is Matt Nagy again in his Zoom meeting with reporters. He met with them for about 30 minutes. And the first soundbite I've picked are some of the advantages that he has noticed through the virtual learning. Right now, they've met with their rookies, and their mini camp was a Zoom mini camp. They basically met with everybody over Zoom and went through their lessons and so forth. And this is the coach talking about some of the things that he's learned.
Yeah. So the biggest thing for us right now, Dan, is to establish these relationships. We were just talking about it this morning. we as coaches really have not been able to, for different reasons. Again, this is part of the silver linings. We haven't been able to find out as much about our players as people as we are right now. We're being creative with that. And I think that part is an element to this thing that we've never done before. This is forcing us to do that. The time that we're missing on the field, we're getting when we are together in these breakout rooms and what we call coffee shops and just talking about life, not always just X's and O's. And I think that part has been so valuable. It's taken a little bit of time, but then once you become comfortable with it, becomes a lot easier. And it's you really, at the end of the day, you realize, man, we got some stuff done.
I think that's was important to share, because when we had on John Jenkins this past week and we talked to him about, the lack of camaraderie that's going to happen because of the current situation, it appears that the Chicago Bears are doing a good job of building that through through Zoom and having these breakout sessions, so that when they're meeting with the entire team for their 15-minute meeting, they then do breakouts into different sections and they get to know these guys. It's not all X's and O's, as the coach just said, and I thought that was important to share. I know you guys have heard the interview, and I want to get from you guys just your sense of the overall tenor that Matt Nagy presented. And were you impressed with what he said, or were you thinking more of the same bullshit? Talk to us about that. Phil, why don't you begin first?
We'll start here with the clip that you played. I think it's very imperative. It's important for the human quality to come across in these meetings. You can't be all straight into work. I mean, we're living it here, all of us, parents that are teaching your kids and using technology to do so. There's only so much they can withstand or pay attention to. Now, I know it's on a different level, but it's the same kind of rule of humanity. You have to break through to get and find the person inside these people. So if you're teaching at the same time, you as the teacher should be learning information about these players. And I think he goes on to say he's learning more about them as well. So it's kind of like a little bit of a benefit. That to me shows you're doing it right, because I think I've always said, and you guys, have audio and drops of me saying the team is a reflection of its head coach. You heard John talk about Coach Jay Rogers, that he cares about you and the players. And when a coach cares about you and you feel that, you're going to work that much harder. So these relationships now are being built, these personalities. Let's face it, I tried to push John into answering the political football question, and there's a certain bias that every coach has. There could be a talented kid, and he's this much different than the guy the GM wants. But that relationship, that ability to communicate back to you, you feel comfortable with losing this much talent because this guy is going to work and be a leader in the locker room more than the guy with that much more talent. Another quote from Jenkins that fits into here, that's serving a coach that's learning as he goes, is that, it's got to be fun. You got to love the game of football, but at the same time, if you know your players and you break through that and you bond with them, I think this is good for the coach. It is, it happened in a pandemic, but really as you get further into in your interview, I took away that his transparency has come back, that he's not afraid to say, hey, yeah, I messed up, and you'll hear that. But in this case, I love this quote. I love the fact that he's relating to these players. And I think for the average fan that just watches the game and thinks, oh, Khalil Mack sucks, he's not getting triple teamed every play, this guy stinks, why'd they trade for this? And they don't see the game like me or Shane or whoever. They don't see this portion of football being as important as it really is. And that's being basically a father to these professional men that are going to go battle for you because your job is on the line. So it's so important to build that bond.
It's a great point, Phil. I mean, we talked a little bit about what we saw, how Nagy was different, and to what you said, the most important piece that I took out of all of this is when I got to shout out Ryan Cox here because he brought it up in terms of the questions and Matt Nagy reverting back to his transparency. Took a Chicago beat guy, Jesse Rogers, to ask the tough question. And that was a great point by Ryan Cox when I was talking to him about it. And you do sometimes
– baseball guy.
Yeah, the Cubs guy, yeah. But you like to see Nagy admit his mistakes because how many years in Chicago as fans have we seen just – you knew where they were going to go, and if it was a mistake, they were not going to come out and admit that it was a mistake. They were going to double down on what they thought was right, even though everybody knew it was wrong. And it just comes back to the fact that Matt Nagy, and if you want to be a anti-Nagy or pro-Nagy, you have to give him credit. At least he came out and he answered it. Hey, this isn't going to happen again. I made a mistake with that. And the proof is in the pudding. Your quarterback, Mitch Trubisky himself said, I crave reps. That's how I improve. Reps, reps, reps. And then your head coach, your lead dog that's controlling those, is depriving him of those. So there's an issue along the way there with that. And now Matt Nagy, I think he kind of sees that, this kick in the nuts last year, that was the 2019 season, that I think there was a lot of, I don't want to say false bravado there, but I think that they just expected that the next step was Super Bowl. That's all they talked about. And they hadn't even won a playoff game. Yeah, they were close, but they still didn't win. So the biggest thing that I take out of all of this is that it's no more easy breezy. We're going to go in there and you remember what he said, Phil? We have to become calloused. How do you get calloused when you don't play?
He said the opposite. That's
exactly
why I'm sorry. I'm going to give credit to Shane, Bears Barroom, Bears 100 Proof. We called this shit out. Tooch did an Emmy-winning job going back to that show with Greg Braggs, who, by the way, is on our show here. And you guys went and pulled that tape of me and Shane confronting Nagy, the Bears, for what they were doing, not playing starters in the preseason, not playing Mitch Trubisky. We stood by that. The Brawl fucking Network, we're talking like this is New Age. Whoever else, all these other people, right? So I don't flip-flop. I never will. And I'm going to say this because I saw one of the comments. I think it was Chubbs. Listen, you only could start as a person, as a human being, by admitting you're wrong. That's the start. So, yeah, talk is fucking cheap. I totally agree. But you don't get to the point of changing without stating it to your team that, fucking things are going to change. I fucked up. Look at the beginning of the show. Was I expecting Al to talk about fucking burners for 9 years? No. But I stand here and I said things are going to fucking change. And they did. And look where we are now. That's where you got to believe. You can't be fucking negative Nancy. Negative Nancy. I'm going to put a fucking video up and cry. No. You go out there and you fucking do what you need to do in the honor of what you believe in. And I think I'm the biggest critic of Matt Nagy, right, Aldo? I've gone on tirades about this guy and his play calling. I've said it all. So for him, we can't be as fans, hey, fuck this, talk is fucking cheap and this, that, and the other. We have to say, okay, now show us. Hold your arms back. Be a barfly 100%. Go to that level and say, we have to see it to believe it. I get that. But don't say talk is cheap because that's where it begins. And I'm piggybacking. I know I jumped in, but it's so important. And Shane is pointing this out years at Wanstead, Geron, Tressman, Fox, all of these fucking politicians and head coach would say, yeah, we're going to figure it out. It never changed. It never fucking changed. I could have told you, fire this guy 2 years ago. Fire him. You got the wrong guy. You drafted the wrong player. You could see it. You watch that Jordan documentary. Is there any fucking question he's the best all time? I mean, you got to be a fucking lunatic to not notice that. You got to be fucking absolutely ridiculously dumb. So that's why I get so amped up. You got to start somewhere. Let's put our arms, Chubbs, whoever else. I'm just not picking on you, Chubbs. I saw your comment. You just got to sit back like me and learn after 46 years. I'm going to see it. But this is the start because it's never happened before. It's never happened. They did everything we've said. Even Ryan Pace is going out, getting these players, certain moves that have happened that we've talked about. Robert Quinn, get the offensive line fixed. They go and get Affetti. People are Affetti suck. You don't know. Let's see what he is at guard. Believe in Juan Castillo. Shane said he never believed they would fire Harry Heastan. Right? They did it.
I didn't. I talked to you literally, I think, the day that it was announced, like maybe a couple of hours before. I said, I think that's probably the move that needs to be made. And I didn't have confidence that they would do it. And I was legitimately surprised, shocked, stunned, however you want to phrase it, that they did it.
And I bring that up with Shane because if the coach is sitting here right here and saying, I fucked up, I did this wrong, it's not going to happen. This is a parallel to that. The fact that I was shocked. They don't own shit. They did own shit this time. So I got to give
and I think it's
tip of the hat to them.
And it's not just the quarterback. You know, the question was framed in the sense of, do you wish you would have played Trubisky more too? But I think it's starters across the board because he saw a difference in toughness from that 2018 to the 2019. The 2018 team had an edge. They played, I mean, even though the preseason was scaled back, I wish he would have went deeper than just preseason. I mean, we're not going to, who knows how much fans are going to be able to see training camp as we did last year. But training camp was scaled back tenfold. In the first season Nagy was here, they had like 5 sessions at least, minimum, where they were actually live hitting. Last season's training camp, they only had 1 session in the 10 practices that fans were able to go to. 1 session on a Friday. Other than that, it was like, you know, they were just walking around doing what. I mean, not completely, but that is why, in my opinion, Nagy's saying this, because he's going to start holding, you know, across the board because he saw that toughness go away, and he won't let that happen again.
It is a great point, Greg, and it goes all the way back to and I bought into it. Greg, you did. Phil, Aldo, we all did. Bears 100. You know, the next step is Super Bowl. We're gonna, you know, at least the NFC Championship game. You can, you know, in your small group, in your team, you can have a goal to get there, but you can't. That's literally all that this organization talked about. You go back to some of those Q&As at Bears 100, and it was almost like, all right, we should have won the Eagles playoff game. It didn't break our way. Our next step is to come in and blow the fucking doors in and win this whole thing. And the Matt Nagy really put the wheels in motion right then, because he said the only thing that is, he didn't say this, but he implied that the only thing that is going to stop this team is injuries.
Yeah.
And we're not going to take any chances. We're not going to put Mitch out there. We're not going to, you know, put our offensive line out there. We're, you know, Khalil Mack isn't going to see the field, and Roquan Smith in preseason, all these factors. And then these guys go out there and initially in week 1 versus Green Bay, you know, I remember sending out a tweet. Everything was talking about this Bears team regressing. And I'm like, no way. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Yeah. That defense was cranked up. Offense couldn't score. But then things just seem to progressively get worse, and it goes back to the
Snowballed.
yeah.
You spent a whole offseason talking about one position on the
Exactly.
team, the kicker. And in the first 2 weeks, the only person that really did anything was the kicker. He saved
scored
them
all
from
the
being
points.
0-2.
Yeah.
He honestly saved the Bears from meeting their eventual doom earlier in that season. Had they not made that kick against Denver, their season goes in the tank. We don't know. It would have changed everything out. Obviously Mitch gets hurt, but I'm just saying that could have put them in the tank right away. And it saved them, prolonged them a little further into the season. If they make the same mistake, and it doesn't sound like they are, to only focus on one position, again, that being the quarterback, and of course the most important position in all of sports, it doesn't matter. It's a team sport, and it does. If you look at what the San Francisco 49ers did coming out of the NFC last year, Jimmy Garoppolo isn't lighting the world on fire, and they could have easily won the Super Bowl last year. So the Bears got to make sure they've got everyone on the same page. And as Nagy says in some of these audios you're going to hear from Aldo, he says if the guys are seeing that the quarterback position is up for grabs, then everybody's job is now up for grabs.
Well, now you stole my last point on this real quick, Aldo. There's no question, guys, around the world and tuning in live now, Matt Nagy, to me, was the number one issue. As much as I showed you on the tape never lies, the offensive line problems and everything like that, Nagy clearly was the number one issue. Learning on the job, play call, we go through it all. We've talked about this tirelessly, but just want to finish this up. So if he's standing out in front and he's taking ownership that this isn't going to happen again, then you hold that person accountable, the coach. We will here, trust me on that. We'll go back to these quotes and we'll call it what it is. But to take that step and really self-scout, if you will, you got to, as a coach, you're going to make mistakes just like as a father, a mother. You're going to learn from your mistakes, you hope. In this position, he has to understand. And I think some of these quotes really are hitting home with me as a coach, saying, okay, he's hitting. And Greg touched on, I'm sure we're going to hear it, about the toughness and the identity of this team. These are things we talked about all the time on 100 Proof and Last Call. I know that for a fact, where I was calling this guy out, and his setup of the season was such in the vein of arrogance. It never got to the point where you were trying to find your identity week 11. Yeah, you can't do that in football, let alone in the NFL. It's terrible.
Well, guys, we will move on now. I've got another soundbite here where the coach talks about the rookie minicamp. He was asked how it went with this virtual setting, and he had this response.
Yeah, JJ. So what it's been is it's really, you can take everything that we've done in prior years and you can just throw it out the window because there's new rules, right? There's a new in regards to what you can and can't. Obviously, you're not on the football field. So what we're trying to do now is say, okay, when we're teaching the plays and the playbook to these players, is it more important to do a lot and see what they can digest right now, or is it more important of the whole less is more thing and the quality and the productiveness of the plays that you're teaching? We are detailing plays right now like we've never detailed before. We have time to do that. And I think what this has done is it's forced us to kind of automatically pull back and realize that you have to use your times in different ways. And the players have been really good with that. So the biggest challenge to us is going to be, when that time comes that we're allowed to go back to the football field, is getting over that hurdle. But then that space of when you get to the football field and you physically get through that part together to how fast can you get to the mental side of putting it all together with what you're doing. Like every team's different. How are you going to see that, and how much opportunity are you going to get to show that on the field?
I thought, I'm reading all these negative comments about Matt Nagy, and, I'm not surprised because, and Phil, you've done a great job of kind of outlining his deficiencies. But I've also read some comments that he is a good leader of men, and
it's important.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like he's rejuvenated.
Yes.
Greg kind of clued us in on some of the things that we're going to hear a little bit later, that he has taken accountability over his mistakes. And so, and just listening to that last soundbite about how he is detailing what is going on and how they're approaching practicing and getting these players into the program under these unique circumstances and using innovative techniques. I'm just encouraged, man. And I'm not excusing his poor coaching, everything that's been detailed here. I'm not excusing it whatsoever. But the one thing that he has continually said is, I'm learning. I'm a sponge. And so hopefully, that is authentic, and we're going to see a new Coach Matt Nagy, a new and improved Coach Matt Nagy. Maybe that's the new song.
He says it right there. Maybe less is more. He's had to learn that. We joked about his Denny's.
Phil, right there, and I don't want to step on your toes, but this goes back to your show you did with your dad. Right. Your dad was right from jump on this. And you can say whatever you want. Just because you're the head coach and a young head coach doesn't mean that you stop learning. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes, and that you, just like we're talking about with the quarterback, is Mitch done? Is there still a chance that Mitch can be the guy? Absolutely. And it's the same thing with Nagy. It's the same thing with Nagy. He can learn from his mistakes. Right now, it's looking, at least what he's speaking, is that he recognized that they were huge mistakes. His plan was wrong. It doesn't mean that he can't move on from it and learn from it and be a better coach. I mean, it goes for every position, head coach. You can put it up to Ryan Pace, the Bears organization as a whole. They can learn from the mistakes. And to me, the head coach is no different.
Listen, if you're a good leader of men, you got 1 foot in the door. That JJ Stankovitz came on here and he quoted the feel of the locker room. I mean, he's right on the front lines. Mark Grody has told me privately that Nagy he didn't lose the locker room. These guys believe in him. So that's one, advantage for that guy as a head coach. The obvious issues have been situational football, play calling and preparedness, or over preparedness. So if you're here and you're saying maybe less is more, maybe this virus can be a positive for me and my team, which it has to be. And thank you, Shan, for bringing up my dad, because, I learned so much from him to get to this point where I can analyze a coach as well as the tape. Offensive line, I could break this down and know what I'm talking about, not talk about the right tackle being the top of the key. I know the right tackle's the right tackle. So does the coach overvalue plays versus teaching? That's something you would hope you learn on the college or high school level, but let's just look. This guy was a fucking real estate agent who loved the game, former college quarterback. We've seen these paths. Bill Belichick never played fucking football, or he did in small process, or I forget his whole story.
He played at Hofstra.
He played at Wesleyan.
I know.
Maybe. I don't remember if he played at Wesleyan. I know he went to Wesleyan. It's in my back.
That 1AA, so that doesn't count,
no,
right?
It's Division III.
You're not getting where I'm going.
West Coast. Where West Coast. But the tape and the film study and the work ethic and the belief and the teaching, you have to be a teacher. So there's so many layers that go with a head coach that, this guy from fucking Ireland and this guy from Cali and this guy from New York, you're watching it, looking at your fantasy football fucking score. Why doesn't fucking Allen Robinson have 7 receptions? I'm looking at it way completely different. What are you teaching? How are they executing? Where is their technique? How are you holding them accountable? I asked him about Jay Rodgers. talking about Jenkins. Does he yell at you? He doesn't yell. He doesn't yell, but he teaches technique. That shows up on the fucking tape. So going all the way back to this, you've been put in a pandemic isolation. Whether you're looking at your wallpaper full of your shitty game plans that is threatening you now and saying, that's your motivation, I need to fucking cut them down and really find out what we do, because I can't wait till week 9, 10, 11 to find our identity. I need to find it in the spring, in the summer. So when we open up, this is what we do well. You fuckers come out and stop us. I don't give a shit. We're going to run fucking ISO 6 times. Stop us. That's the mentality of the Bears and the head coach all across. Bill Belichick, he'll run Bob 4 times. Action game off of it. Fucking throw the ball right down the fucking seam. You know it's coming. Everyone's like, here comes Gronk. Boom. It's there because the defense gets lulled and punched in the fucking gut 15 times. And then he sets it up. So this is where the head coach is unfair to the quarterback and to the team. On the tape, it says shitty offensive line, whether it was Stand and Nagy not holding them accountable and whatever, learning on, there was just too many layers. Now he's pulled back, had this isolation. All we have to do is wait and see how he prepares this team. For what I'm hearing, these are good things. You've moved on. You hired DiFilippo. You got Barone in here. You got guys that, and Castillo. You got guys that know what you want to do philosophically. You know how important that is? Look at on the show, the cohesiveness of us on the show that you're listening to. Oh, Phil's not there. Oh, Shane's not there. It's not the same. If Alda's not there, it's not the same. They're together. We have to work. We all don't agree, and that's good. But you need those guys you trust in your assistant coaches and teachers that are going to do what it is that you expect them to do. And listening to him, I just think this has worked in Matt Nagy's favor. And we'll see when the pads get on how he goes through that.
The two saying, stop it. You're talking about real coaching. Don't do that to us. All right. Greg, you got anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback because we're talking about him changing preparation and getting these guys ready to play. But I also think, and to Phil's point, a lot last year, when guys needed to take their turn on the pine. We saw Mitch get benched against the Rams, and it was probably maybe overdue at that point. But there's a lot of other guys that need to be held accountable. We saw the offensive line, not getting the guys ready in the preseason led to the offensive line not being ready to play to start the season. But not correcting the problem as the season went along was what compiled it, what made it worse. So I just hope not only is he changing his stance on how he's going to prepare these guys and how he's going to crack the whip, so to speak, but when we get to the season, he's a player's coach to his heart, and I get that and I respect that about him. But at some point, you got to be a rubber meets the road kind of coach. Lovie Smith was the ultimate player's coach, but he held his players accountable, and they knew that. They respected him, but they were scared. They were worried about losing their job too.
Yep, that's a very good point, and one that Stingray is making right now.
Yeah, he's right. Real quick, and then feel free. You know what kind of message it sends to a locker room if he would have benched Charles Leno? It was deserving. Mm-hmm. I other podcasts and all these bloggers he's average. No. He was so fucking below average, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what a front is. You don't know an even versus odd front. When his assignment was to make the fucking play, and it was simple, he got beat up on top of it. So when you send that message, bench, I don't care. We're going to fucking start the rookie. I don't care. Then that changes the whole locker room. So that could be the lesson he needed to learn. You can't just bench an Anthony Miller or bench, whoever. You need to hold the guy that got paid as much accountable as the guy that's trying to make the roster, because there should be no bias. You look at the great ones. Pete Carroll is a perfect example. He doesn't give a fuck. That fucking undrafted rookie starting. He'll tell management, he'll tell the GM, great, you did a great job scouting this guy. Why isn't he as valuable as the guy we just paid? He's playing better. If you can't do that as a head coach, or if he doesn't have a power to do that, say, and I'm just saying hypothetically, I want to bench Leno, Ryan Payson. Oh, no. We just paid that. If that's it, that's politics in football. That's why you fucking suck and haven't won. That's why you're not holding Lombardi's up. That's the problem. Once you get to the point of saying the best play, and you can't go in front of the camera with Grody and Hogue and Johns and Brad Biggs and say, yeah, competition. We're going to make competition at every position there. That's a great question. That's a great question there, Brad. We're going to do this at every. You can't threaten it. You got to do it. You got to go into it and hold it all accountable. And the best play, then you get the best out of it. It's like you don't buy the fake Fruit Loops, right? At the grocery store, you don't buy those. You buy the real Fruit Loops for the fucking taste. Hold everybody accountable for the authenticity of your team. That's my little tirade.
Oh, very nicely done. A very nicely done tirade. All right, we're going to move on. And I've got a soundbite here that is the last of that I've chosen about how the coach is dealing with the pandemic. And he was asked about how do you construct a playbook under these circumstances? I thought this was interesting.
You know, again, every year is always different. It's always different with players. It's always different with coaches, usually. And sometimes it's for, different reasons. For us, with where we're at right now, I think that really the new coaches that we've added to this this staff have been really good in regards to their communication, their details, the ideas that they're bringing has really helped all of us out. It's been really, really smooth. I love over communicate clarity. I use that all the time. And what better way? There's no excuse now. We can do it as much as we need to throughout the day. And I'm just really, I really like where we're at right now.
Any comments on that before we move on to Nagy talking about players and some other issues?
Are we going to comment on his black on black walls and cabinets in his office?
I'm assuming that's his home office. And yeah, you talk about
right,
eating up the light. Holy cow, man.
Right.
Jesus Christ. He said at one point that after I'm done here, I'm going to go out and get some vitamin D. Dude, you can get some vitamin D right in your own home if you brighten things up a little bit. Did somebody see Riley Marsaw in the background?
Yeah, he must be up. Must be upstairs. Look at you just uttered those words and Greg Bragg started sweating.
There's a rivalry.
What up, Riley? old buddy?
There's a rivalry brewing.
Yeah.
There is.
There's going to be a cage match between the two of them. Greg Braggs and Riley Marsaw were setting that up for.
It'll be like in Step Brothers when the little kid's pushing his head in the white poop.
Yeah. Can't you hear Greg? Jenny, how do I get in this steel cage? You're going to have to call my mom and you guys are going to have to carry me up there.
Hey, it takes a village.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. I got Coach was asked about Nick Foles learning the playbook, and then the conversation turned into the quarterback competition.
So I've seen a player, and I'm talking about in Mitch, in the previous 2 years, he's learning how to play the quarterback position. That doesn't always mean on the field. That also means off the field. How do you watch?
This is the wrong soundbite, but we'll hear it anyway.
What's your schedule going to be, right? How do you accept coaching? How do you give feedback? And all of that stuff right now has been going on in different ways. And so what we'll do is when we're allowed, we get together and we'll talk through some of the summary of what we just talked about with the details of plays, with his scheduling, etc. And I can see he's starting to create his own way, his own habits. And now, obviously, the biggest thing is none of that matters unless we all go out there and we do it on the field. And that's going to be the next challenge, is being able to take that and take it onto the field and do it through a competition.
Sorry, I played the wrong soundbite. Let me add to that as an addendum the correct soundbite, which was about Foles learning. I think it's this.
So number one, what we always talk about, it's like riding a bike. He's been through some different offenses, even from the last time we were together in Kansas City. But what happens is once you present somebody like Nick the playbook and they start looking at it, all of a sudden it just clicks. And you start remembering, and you just start retraining your brain from what you knew in the past year, couple years. Because even though everyone always says, Coach Reed, Doug Peterson, Frank Reich, that family that we have of coaches that have worked together some way, someplace or another, there's still terminology differences between all of us. And so, but that doesn't take much. And Nick's a smart guy. And so those guys have done a really good job. And I credit Coach Laser and Coach Flip and Coach Rags, and in that quarterback room, they're doing a really good job, all things considered, in really understanding some of the new things we're going to do, some of the old things we're going to keep, and then how we're building these relationships too. That's just as important in this thing moving forward. So Nick's done a great job, and I credit him for that. Yeah, there's no competition going on right now over Zoom, Adam. But that's certainly a fair question. That part, I think what those guys are doing right now is they personally, including Tyler, they're all building up their mental capacity within this offense as to what they like. The beauty of what's going on right now is there's so much feedback back and forth, and discussions are interactive in what coaches like and what the players like, what the quarterbacks like, different ideas. And so to say that they're really, there's no way to possibly say the competition has started right now. But when we do get out onto the field, depending on when that is, that's where we are going to have to be really good as coaches in making sure that we provide the best way possible to make it as fair as possible, to where, we can evaluate and they can go out and get the exact same reps in the exact same environment, so that we can hopefully make a decision off of that.
Coach Philatoshin, what do you think about what Coach Nagy is saying there?
Well, he's saying the right things. I mean, that's what you have to set up. I mean, you have to set up a fair fight. And usually when those things are determined fairly, the cream always rises to the top. And in this case, that's what you need to do as a head coach. I mean, if Mitch was their guy to every point that we've made this whole offseason, there would be no Nick Foles. There would be someone brought in here to help mentor or be a good backup. But in this quarterback competition, they're trying to make Mitch rise to the occasion. And that's really the ultimate goal of this, is to have him, from what every detail that I've gotten, everything that this has led up to, it's Foles has came here to light a fire under Mitch's ass and for him to know the playbook backwards and forwards. When the coach said that at the combine, that's what it needed to resonate with me, where you've seen Mitch play football in a 2-minute drill and he's lights out. Nobody, no PFF grade, no fucking person that's, a blogger or anybody could tell me any different. When the situations are dim and he had the ball in his hand, he made fucking plays. You could be a meatball and hate, but the reality is the tape doesn't lie. And I look at this guy, I don't defend anybody that can't step up and rise to that occasion. So when I see the performances from his past go in that direction where it's positivity, and I'm like, why the fuck? The only missing piece for me is what's going on behind the scenes. Does he know his assignment? Does he know everything? So when the coach says that, now you get someone in here who does know and is a professional, that isn't Chase Daniel, that could threaten your job. It's just like I was saying, the best players have to play. This puts your team in the best and yourself as a coach in the best light possible, because you got to get this guy, Mitch Trubisky, to really find himself in the confidence. So you get this. This is the ultimate football game right now. It's him versus your competition, Nick Foles. There's no secrets. There's no hiding. There's no shutting off the fucking TV. Everybody and their brother is going to be talking about it. It's up to you now as the head coach to make it a real fair fight, and the best will rise to the top. And if this is what they're doing, and they're giving them, obviously, the playbook, the assignments, and everybody's on the same page, and Foles comes in here and this guy, Trubisky, fails to rise to the occasion, then you got your answer. So you helped your franchise. You did the right thing by not, taking the fifth-year option. I know that's a whole nother show, but you got this situation laid out where the best is going to win, and we'll watch it, because I'll tell you, is this fair or not? And I believe in my heart right now, hearing these quotes and everything. I'm not just talking about that quote, the whole thing, even the interview with AM 1000, that Coach Nagy wants the best for Mitch. You got to want the best for both players, but really the most important is the selfish thing. You want the best for your team. And that's really how coaching is. It's like a family. Families out there, you have kids or troubled, or their mental health issues or behavioral issues or drug issues. You want the best for them, but you have other children too you have to take care of, right? So it's just like that. You can't not set the stage up perfectly for these two to do battle and have it be fair. If you do it like that, you're neglecting the team. So from what I heard, Aldo, as a coach, this is exactly, if we go back in the audio history with Tooch, you would hear you, Aldo, talking about what you wanted to see. I'm sorry, Shane. You were like, I don't believe it. If this guy comes here, and I'm just paraphrasing you, Shane, they're going to go with Nick Foles. But we believed, me and Aldo were like, if they fuck this up and don't make a fucking competition and don't play these guys and get the best answer for the team, then this guy is gone. He needs to be gone because he doesn't get it. So listen, that was months ago. Tooch, go, and Acevedo, the swag man, shout out to him. You guys could go back, pull that audio, and we could play it on Wednesday so you could see that they're playing this exactly how I would expect them, and Aldo had said that they'd expect. It wasn't Shane. You weren't saying it wasn't the right way. You wanted the right way. You just didn't believe. So far, I'm just saying, coach is doing the right thing for the most important position in football. He's doing it.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's just there's something. Listen, I had this conversation multiple times with different people. Phil, you know my thoughts on it. The best thing for this franchise is for number 10 to go out there and do it.
Exactly.
Picking up the fifth-year option would have been a mistake. If you want a true open competition, you brought it up earlier, Phil, when you're talking about if you're going to hold the quarterback accountable, that's going to filter down to the rest of the team. Well, if you're going to quote unquote give Mitch his fifth-year option, and yes, it's guaranteed for injury or anything like that. If you're picking up and going to guarantee this kid money under any circumstance, you're going to it creates a flawed competition in my mind. If you're Nick Foles and you see that they picked up Mitch's fifth-year option, do you think that he's not going to have in the back of his head, all right, this really isn't going to be an open competition. It's going to be slanted towards Mitch. And I think it was Adam Hogue maybe that brought it up. And the more that this goes on where they can't have this off season, and I think Greg was on this initially right from the get-go, was with nothing happening, it's you're moving more and more towards this being Mitch being the guy, because they kind of know what they have in Foles and that they know that they can go to him if they need to. Rather, if Foles was the guy from day one, and then he falters, and then you go to Mitch, and who knows how that's going to go. But to me, nothing really more needs to be said than they're taking the correct steps by, number one, admitting their mistakes. And that's not something that we've seen in this organization at all. We haven't. We've seen, Ryan Pace admitted the mistake with Leonard Floyd. He admitted the mistake, or Nagy admitted the mistake by bringing in Harry Hiestand, who he had, I think Greg or Aldo, you were on with the Draft on Tap guys when Greg Gabriel was on, and he pretty much came out and said flat out that he was told that it was absolutely a blocking issue that was at the crux of the animosity between Hiestand and Matt Nagy. And like I said, and credit to Matt Nagy, because have we heard anything negative about Harry Hiestand from anybody? All you hear is he's one of the very best offensive line coaches in the world. And there a lot of coaches would have just settled and said, all right, I'm not going to make that change. But he nutted up and brought in his guy that's going to block it the way that he wants it blocked. And we'll see where that goes. But to me, it's most important that they're seeing the mistakes and talking about it publicly, because now they're going to be held even more accountable.
Let's listen to Coach talk about the difference between Harry Hiestand and Juan Castillo.
So every coach is obviously different. They all have their own ways. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. What I think Juan's biggest strength is being able to teach and reach his players. So what better way? I actually personally think he's even better when it's on the field, and y'all will see that. You'll see how he is when he's on the field. There's going to be some times where he chews their tails out, but there's going to be other times where he's just giving them nothing but love, and we're all going to see and feel that. But where I think he's at the top is in these type of sessions that we have, and when he's standing in front of the room at House Hall and he's teaching the details of the run game, the details of the play pass, the details of the movements, protections, the defensive, what we're looking at personnel-wise, I think he's really at the top there. And what I'm sensing is that our players are feeling that, and that's his strength. And so that's been good, and we want to keep that going. And then when we get to the field, now we're all going to be like, just cut us loose and let's go do it outside.
I think that, again, that's encouraging. And, this guy, Matt Nagy, had to build a coaching staff, and he didn't get all the pieces that he wanted or were the perfect fit for his scheme. And so hopefully he's got his man now and no more excuses. Any thoughts on the offensive line coach, Juan Castillo, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the chat room is amped up. They're fired up, and I get it. They really are. And there's several sides of the fence that people are on. I saw Tooch, our star here. Tooch, he was saying he's learning. He's learning things a head coach of the Chicago Bears should already know. And I'm in that same camp. But the fact of the matter is, I can't go back and change the course of Ernie Accorsi, Ryan Pace, and the whole thing we've talked about. We're here now. So all we could go on is what he is having to do to course correct, Greg, his learning curve as the head coach. And right now, you see that he's doing that. I always say this. Your most important hire, my father taught me it. You've heard him on this show, actually. He said it. The most important hire is the offensive line coach. Because without the offensive line, you can't do anything you want to do in football if they're not coached up. You can have average talent. If you have average talent and you've coached them up really well where they know their assignments, then that could be the best offensive line that you've ever seen. In fact, average talent is in the Hall of Fame because they worked their ass off to be great. Think about that. So when I look at this and I see the ineptitude on the offensive line, and I see people like Fat Mike criticizing Mitch Trubisky without the whole big picture. I just think you can't worry about what's going to happen after. If Mitch goes balls out, that's beneficial to us. I don't give a fuck. Fuck a cap. You're going to pay your quarterback and you're going to be better for it because guess what? Your quarterback has won because you surrounded yourself with people, you being the head coach, that you believe it. And so if he was having issues with how their assignments are, listen, Matt Nagy did something Shane admitted he didn't think he would do. I didn't think he would fire this well-respected Olin Kreutz on the radio, this one on the radio, former players. He's the best head coach. Look at these guys from Notre Dame. They're all first-round picks in talent. You could not say a bad thing, and people don't. But the fact of the matter is, how does he mesh with me as a person, as a coach? So if there was, something that was affecting them, and Greg Gabriel, I didn't hear that quote, but thank you, Shane, for sharing it, is saying that there was an issue with how they blocked it. I'm telling you on tape, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And that's why I get so amped up at people hammering David Montgomery. Like he isn't a fucking talent beyond anything. If they had a good blocking scheme where they were cohesive, you would be like, holy shit, this fucking kid is going to be a star. Because that's what he is. He did shit you can't believe if you know what you're looking at behind an offensive line that was confused. So Nagy did the best thing for himself. He got himself. Surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with someone that you trust that's going to teach your concepts. So this is a great hire for Nagy because you got to have all your fucking paint colors to paint a Picasso. You can't have fucking just 6. You got to have them all. So if you have all your fucking colors ready, now it's on you. Like you said, Aldo. Now it's on. You got D. Filippo here. He got Juan Castillo here. He's got the whole package. Whether you like computers, cars, it's like Greg having 5 MB GPSs. Now he's got fucking 300 and what is it? 311?
311.
Who's this group 311? Who is that? The 80s group. You said there's an
Aldo can pull up a song for later. They had a couple good ones.
I'm just trying to figure out what that group is. But anyway, you have all your
like, sure, Greg, go fuck yourself.
I never heard of them either.
I heard of 365.
You're just good at pulling up music is my point.
I know.
But anyway, he's got all his guys now. You have the everything set up. You had the letdown, the embarrassment. Listen, on paper, I'm sorry. This fucking team's talent is there. There is zero, and I'm talking 0 excuses for this team not to go out there and win 10 games. At the minimum, in my mind, 10 games with the roster that they have. That's where they should be. By hiring these D. Filippo, he's got all his paints. Now he's got to go paint the fucking picture for the Chicago Bears and the fans that are all fired up.
Phil, there's just something that stood out to me in the chat when you brought up David Montgomery. David Wilson said that David Montgomery doesn't scare defenses. He's not stout at the point of attack. You want to chime in on that?
Is that David Wilson from the Bears den? Is he going to bring us back to the den? Are we blocked from the den? Give us an answer, Dave. You're in the chat. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck happened with the den. I thought we were all friends. But anyway, to answer that, that's completely and utterly wrong, Dave. This kid is a make you miss, put your shoulder down stud. What he did against those fronts that are misblocked, guys leaking in, we call it. When you have defenders beating a fucking cutoff block. So let's go on the virtual chalkboard. We need to get this, Aldo. So some way I can manipulate it for people. Maybe I'll get a whiteboard behind me or something and put it up. If you're running outside zone to the right, which is your left, I guess, right here, you're going to the right. Everybody's stepping. So if someone's lined up, head up on you, you got to get in front of his fucking face, no matter what. no matter what, because you know we're running outside zone. How many times in one game did Leno or the tight end make their cutoff block, which is the most important because the running back in the outside zone is going to feel it. He's got to stretch it and then plant and get up the fucking, hit that hole. Hit the hole. When you're going outside zone and everything's shut off and you're about to cut back, and guess what? You got an empty fucking defender. It's you one-on-one. He's made him miss every time. Every time. That's the kind of football player. Now that shit's blocked right, guess what's going to happen? So every time it was blocked right, which was Aldo, tape never lies. All of you guys are fans of it. Go back. There's 4 plays where I go, they did it right. 4 on a fucking season. 4. Think about that. I'm saying it right to the camera. 4 plays they blocked correctly in the run game. 4 plays in a whole season. Fired the offensive line coach. He did the right thing. He did the right thing. Whether he's holding him accountable or not, that's what you got to do. But David Montgomery, he's going to be a star. He's going to be a star. I don't know what he's saying in Japanese there, but I probably agree with it.
We welcome him anyway, even though we can't.
Can't translate. Someone translate that. But I see David Montgomery. I think fans are going to be eating their words. In fact, I called out Brian Perez, and I heard him on a fucking podcast that Shane told me, and he was saying this is a back that can't fucking make a 3-yard play 11 yards. And I go, what the hell? I call him out. He actually
exactly
went back,
who he is.
Looked back at it and said, dude, I was wrong. To Brian Perez's credit, Brian, I'm talking to you now. You went back, looked at the tape, and were like, shit doesn't lie. You're right, Phil. This motherfucker is special, and he's not getting the help he needs. So I'm telling you right now, Montgomery, they didn't fucking draft a fucking back. They didn't sign a fucking veteran back because they fucking know, pardon my language. No, don't pardon my. They know that this kid is something special. I know a back when I see it. Shane, what do you think of Montgomery?
No, David Montgomery to me is one of the least of my worries. I think what it goes back to is we're stuck in this Madden age, and you know he doesn't have that blinding speed. We saw that versus the Chargers, where he could have housed that one, and he just didn't have that extra gear to house it. But that's, everybody's in love with 50+ yard runs. And honestly, how many times does that happen? It doesn't. If, when you brought up Perez, when he said he can't take a 3-yard run and make it an 11-yard run. No, that's exactly how I would phrase David Montgomery. If I talked about him, that's where he's most impressive to me. Is he's good in confined spaces, and he's, I believe David Wilson said that he doesn't think that he's strong enough, and I don't see that at all whatsoever. I think he's impressive with that. I think that people push this kid down the ladder because he's not like Chris Johnson was back in the day with the blinding straight line speed, and How many Bears backs have had that? I'm still in shock that Anthony Thomas, the A-Train, took that fucking 58-yarder to the house. Yep. I haven't seen Thomas Jones Thomas Jones had fucking speed when he was coming out of Virginia. Yep. Think about him with the Cardinals and Tampa. He came here. How many fucking 50+ touchdown runs have we seen? Even the greatest of all time, the best, the GOAT, the best football player ever to go in between the hashes. Right. Walter Payton. Did he have fucking blinding speed? No. It's I don't want to say that it's overrated, but it's like I refer back to when you're looking at quarterbacks and everybody says that, oh, he doesn't have that huge arm. That's fine. That's fine. Right. If you're accurate and you can read a defense, you don't need to have an arm like the kid that the Raiders, Jamarcus Russell had. He had elite arm strength, and it didn't mean anything because he didn't have anything else. But the blinding speed element is vastly overrated. Yeah,
how many long runs?
Exactly.
The one he had, the one against the Colts his rookie year.
That was his first game in the NFL. That was game one. He did have he had like a 90-yarder in preseason against, I think it was the Raiders in Soldier Field. It was like a 89 or 90-yarder. It was blocked perfectly, and Oakland had everybody up, and he bounced it. But
I mean, I'm telling you, David Montgomery is special to watch on tape because what he does. I mean, he's a rookie. I remember the Green Bay game opening night, and they kept fucking taking him out, and I'm sitting next to Larison. I'm like, this is a coaching buffoon. I was screaming. The whole fucking section heard me. You could ask Jim. And everybody's like, holy shit, this dude knows what he's talking. Because every time offensively they were using him, you had positive gains. He's falling forward. He's spinning, finding a crease. He's doing everything that needed. Listen, Juan Castillo might be the answer. The offensive line, you hope for all these things. But the one thing, David Montgomery, I am not fucking worried about him.
Look at the issues that we had with the head coach. Look at the issue that we had with, quarterback play, offensive line play. And David Montgomery still was close to having 1,000-yard season. So, I mean, if you just become average, what are his numbers going to be? So I have more of an issue with the backup running back.
Cohen, yes.
And he is the speed guy that everybody that wants to fall in love with, Madden loves. If you want to question strength, question Tariq Cohen. If you want to question, Tariq always trying to bounce it outside, that's
exactly.
It's hard to watch sometimes because you see the hole develop, and he's got the juice to get there, but then he wants to bounce it outside because he wants to try to get the 40 and 50-yard run, where a 7 or 8 yard run is just as effective to move the chains, and that's going to help out your offense. And this is a huge year for Tariq Cohen. This is a contract year for him, and if you don't see monumental improvement there, I'm not investing money into Tariq Cohen. I brought that up quite a long time ago. So look at Aldo being served by the lady of the house.
Man, she's got this sexy negligee on. I'll see you guys later. Hey, okay. Speaking of the run game, thanks to Mr. Greg Braggs, I've got some great audio from the Waddle and Philly show. This is Nagy being asked beautifully by our good buddy Sylvie about the run game, and this is a couple of minutes long. So let's take a listen to this. I thought this was a fascinating exchange.
So Matt, candidly, I've got to be honest with you while I have you on the line. I got frustrated last year watching the lack of commitment to the run. It's something that we talked about with our listeners, and I've got you on the phone. So as you did this self-scout and you start with yourself, did you get pissed at yourself at all for giving up on the run?
So first of all, the thing that I really appreciate that you just started that off with is that you were honest and you're able to say that. I appreciate that. I don't think there's enough that goes on in this world. So thank you for being honest. Number two is I did start there because, you have to be able to run the football in this league to win. You have to. But you also need to throw the football. Mm-hmm. So there's a balance there. And every game is different. There's some games where the matchup just isn't good. And as much as we want to look at the fantasy stats and say, my guy needs 30 carries, that's just not going to happen because they got a better defensive line or they have, 9 guys in the box. That's how that goes. And so that's the beauty of coaching. That's the beauty of the scheming part. Well, we need to be better there. I need to be better there. The other part of it too is just for us to step back and say, okay, if we're going to run the ball, how are we going to do it? And that's what I think has been fun for us here in the offseason is trying to understand, is it by personnel, right? Is it, and then if it is, what is it and who is it? And then number two is, okay, if that's obviously something that we made changes on this offseason, now is it by scheme? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. And so now you put that together and now all of a sudden it's a lot easier to call run plays when they're productive. And so you have to stay balanced. But running the ball, I totally understand what you're saying and totally understand your frustration. And trust me, I know, being a quarterback guy and wanting to throw the ball and all that, you get labeled with that. But I'm all about running it, and I'm looking forward to seeing us get better in that area this year.
What do you think, guys? So we're going to see a sustained commitment to the run game?
I don't know. I think he's going to try. You heard him even in that quote say, well, there's games where, the matchup dictates. And I think what Sylvie's trying to say is, no, man, you got to stick to it. Sticking to the run means even if the matchup says you can't run it, you run the ball. You have to. And it's easy for me to say sitting on my couch, but that's what fans are seeing. And when the game where he only runs it 6 times, a franchise low in their history, 7. So, one of them was an end around, it's like, so that's where, you hope that when we get into the games and the rubber meets the road, and you got to win games, that he doesn't go back to what he's comfortable doing and he starts to listen to the guys around him. And, all I can think about is that Chargers game when they get into field goal range and you don't run that rock one more time for 10 yards. You've got momentum. Mitch Trubisky just got you down there in a miracle after a shit show of a game, and you know that you need a few more yards. Anything in Soldier Field's a grab them with a kick, and you don't run that ball one more time. And afterwards you say, well, I'm worried about losing a few yards. How about thinking you're going to gain a few yards? That's the mentality you have to take. I don't care what the matchup says.
And then your best point was you forgot me there. What did I say on last call?
I don't know.
Then he's worried about losing a yard, and he takes a knee and loses a yard.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
that was Montgomery's career game too.
Yeah, he was he was hot. He was the hot back. So listen, you need to be able to run the ball no matter what the fucking front is. Remember Jordan Howard was here, and he led the league against 9-man fucking fronts with yards against it. And that's with you, coach. That's with you as the head coach. So you can't be afraid. I see the politician in that answer. I'm going to agree with Tooch. I saw his comment up there. Can't do that, coach. You got to say, I'll look at him. Coach, I hear that comment and I hear nervousness. You got to say, you know what? Looking at us, we need to be a run first. We got to dominate the line of scrimmage and run the football. I don't care how age old that is. It's the truth in football. You beat someone up, you can do everything else you would like to do.
I just don't think you're ever going to see that from this head coach, Phil. I don't think he's ever going to transition to being – he's going to be who he is, and he's going to pass the football. And Matt Nagy's response to any of that is, right, wrong, or indifferent, is we need to be more effective when we do run the football. He's never going to be a smash mouth guy. That's not.
I'm not asking him to be smash. I'm asking him to recognize that sometimes, just like the players that you're coaching, you're going to ask them to do things they don't do well. That's how you get them better. So as a coach, now you have all this time to reevaluate yourself. You have to be a smash mouth guy in your game preparedness to do the things that you want to do. Look, what is a RPO? That was the big hot phrase. It's a run pass option. How do you fucking get to the option part? You actually run the football well. So if you're not running the football well, guess what? The pass option part, that goes out the fucking window because they're just sitting back in coverage. They don't feel threatened by you. So I hope I see the politician in that answer with Tooch, and I hope that this coach gets it right. You know, everybody right now, all they have is words, Sam. That's all they have. They can't do action. They can't. So we have to recognize that and confront it like you guys are here, joining us here on Bears 100 Proof, the greatest podcast of the Chicago Bears on the planet right here on Bears Barroom Radio. How about that at the hour mark, at the half-hour mark? Where'd he go? He left us.
Sorry.
He said he was bouncing out.
I was my wife. I was.
Oh
no, no. I'm with you. I was actually saying, I didn't know my mic was muted. That I wish I had a sound effect of applause, because you're absolutely right. This is the best podcast, and it's getting better and better every week. If I just stop fucking things up here.
No. We're learning as we're going with this.
Oh, you ain't kidding.
TV
Just like the head coach.
I'm standing here honestly in front of you saying we're going to keep getting better. And that's not just talk, Chubbs, right? We're going to keep getting better.
Let me go ahead.
I was just going to add, if we're getting off the run game here, that I'd like to see them add another running back here. I know we talked about this a few weeks ago on 100 Proof. Different free agents you like to see him acquire after the draft. And mine was Frank Gore, and he's already been picked up. But I definitely think they need to get another running back behind David Montgomery and Tariq, just for depth purposes, in case something happens to a guy like David. I like Ryan Nall, but I just like to see them bring in a guy, a veteran on the cheap, that can get tough yards in case you need it, injury or otherwise.
Don't forget Pierce. I like that kid, the UDFA they brought in, Artavis Pierce from Oregon State.
Yeah, from Oregon State.
Yeah, he's got some
kid that was on the network with Danny Shimon and Ryan Badgley, the kid from, what is it, Central Florida?
Yeah.
South Florida?
Oh, yeah.
Forgetting his name. But, I'm with Greg here. I think you need a veteran to come in, and you need him at camp. And I suspect that when the veterans start their virtual OTAs, which I believe is next week, I believe that by then they will have a veteran sign, so that veteran can participate in those OTAs and start to learn the install of these plays. So that's my little prediction. Watch for the Bears to sign a running back over the next few days. All right. I want to move on here and introduce a soundbite of Matt Nagy talking about what was Mitch's reaction when he was told that they were not going to pick up the fifth-year option.
And for all of us, it was like a 24-hour process where we treat this thing with a lot of honesty. We treat it on his end and our end as far as what we're doing moving forward. Nothing's changed from having to make that decision in regards to this open competition. And so for us, you probably don't believe it or not, but we move on. So 24 hours later, it's on. We're in Zoom meetings and we're having unbelievable discussions in that quarterback room of nothing but how we can get better on running 22 scat Z in. And I think that's a credit to who Mitch is. And now we all understand that this thing is for all of us going to be what y'all talk about, and that's fair. That's totally fair. I understand that. So, but for us, we move on. We're all very open and honest in the discussions we have, and then we just let the thing play out. And again, in the end, what we want is for both those quarterbacks to be the best possible quarterbacks that they can be individually, and then make it hard on us to make the decision to who the starter is. So that makes the Bears a better football team. And when you have two good people like we do in Mitchell and Nick, it makes these type of decisions and conversations a lot easier to have because they're competitive as hell. They want the best for the Bears, and they're going to fight their tails off to do that. And I think that's the beauty of it. So again, out of respect, I know that's a topic, but we really, and again, including all the other players on our team, there's other great competitions, and our players feel that. That's a word we use a lot in our Zoom meetings, is competition, competition, competition. So that's what I think he handled it really well, and I was proud of how he handled it.
Are you proud of how Coach Nagy is handling this, Phil?
I mean, what is he going to say there? I mean,
well, this is exactly what Phil is. This is what the one thing that drives me nuts with this organization, and you see it from Ryan Pace down to Matt Nagy whenever they talk about this. What's so wrong with just coming out and saying, if they ask you what Mitch's reaction was, come out and say, Mitch's reaction, guys, isn't a factor in any of this. We're doing what's best for the Chicago Bears. Come out and just be matter of fact with that. You don't have to say something semi-negative and then come back and butter his ass up because you don't want him to be upset. That's what drives me nuts. It's,
Absolutely.
We didn't pick up the 5th-year option, but, we've been open and honest with this from the get-go. This is a decision we've made, but I want to go out and I want to, Mitch has been great in all of this. The kid is putting in the effort and he's all about the competition. Just shut up with all of that. Just come out and say, we didn't pick up Mitch's 5th-year option because we feel that's best for this franchise moving forward. It opens up the competition at quarterback, and that's the direction we're going. Stop right there.
Yep.
Move on to the next subject. Enough with the niceties.
On all the clips that I clipped out of the Waddle and Sylvie show, he had like 5 different or 6 different questions thrown to him. Each of them were 1 minute and 20-second answers. The Mitchell versus Foles answer was over 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Of just rambling, going back and forth. It tells me that the door is still open for Mitch. For all those that say he's done with him, he wouldn't spend 5 minutes dancing around the answer if he wasn't giving Mitch the first snaps. Now, how fast that hook is going to be is probably quick. That's what the other half of the dancing is what he's saying. It's going to be competition, and they're both great guys, and they both really want it. He's saying, I'm going to give you a shot, Mitch, and if you're not ready, I'm going to give it to Foles in a week. You know what I mean? That's basically what I'm hearing. So, that's what I wanted to see. So
it's a great point, Greg, because just remove yourself from football, just in everyday life. If you're at work and you're pissed off with a coworker, you're just going to be matter of fact, point blank. This is it. No ifs, ands, or buts, and be done with it. You're not going to talk around in a circle for 10 minutes to, all right, I want to get my point across, but I don't want to upset him or him or her or whatever. But just enough with the Care Bear attitude. Just come out, be matter of fact, point blank, and then move on to the next topic. You don't have to answer every one of them. And it's you breaking this down in terms of length of response says a ton about where their thought process is with this. And the door is open for Mitch. That's exactly what that means. It's exactly what that means. If we brought in an expert that could read Matt Nagy's mannerisms and how he's talking and whenever he's talking about court, go back and watch it. When he's talking about Mitch, his eyes are staring off like this, and everything. And when he wants to be matter of fact, listen, guys, I'm gonna, this is what we're gonna do, and this, we're the Bears mentality, and he's locked in. And just enough with that bullshit. It's a flaw with this organization.
And to that point, he says in that soundbite, it's great that we got these 2 guys, who handle it really well and so forth. And that could be part of the player acquisition model that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy have instituted. I've said this before. They got a lot of milk and cookies guys when you need to have some whiskey and glass guys. You want a quarterback to say, fuck you, man, I should be the starting quarterback. And throw shit around and be angry, as opposed to relying back on the management books or relying back to their, don't at me now, but their spirituality or whatever. You want some angry ass players on this football team. Juan Castillo is going to bring some anger to that offensive line, but in the quarterback room, they're not firing these guys up. I'd love for
DeFilippo is there.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
That's your boy.
But I was just going to pay you a compliment, Phil, and say, one of the things Nagy talked about is that during their Zoom meetings, they've had guest speakers come in. guys come in and Nagy didn't want to reveal any of the names because he felt he hadn't gotten permission, he said, to reveal the names. But I would love for Draft Dr. Phil to come into one of those Zoom meetings and do one of his fucking famous rants and tell these quarterbacks, this is what you got to do, and talk to the offensive line and some of the other guys. That's the kind of fired up approach that you want to see from your Chicago Bears coaching staff, because that's what's been successful in the past.
You know what's got to happen, guys? I mean, Shane, you hit it out of the park. You can't go any more than that. And the truth has to be, do you fucking love this game, kid? Do you love it? Because that's I tell the story. My father would put another kid in a tailback during practice. That shit would fucking piss me off. He knew what he was doing. And it would get me if I was a little lax in practice or I had a tough day at school or whatever. When I was at Hofstra, they did the same thing. There's a motivation that comes with competition. If someone cowers in it and fails, then they've never been the right guy in the beginning. So to your point, Aldo, I just think, and Shane hit this out of the park with the coach, you can't just be different. Right now, our goal is to win. So if they were to ask me, how did the guys take it, the competition? I don't give a shit how they took it. My job is to win games here for the Chicago Bears. Whoever's the best is going to do that. These two guys know it. I've made it very clear. This is going to be fair, and the best is going to win. And that's the transparency and the trust in your coach that he's speaking right there to the public. Remember Ditka? Everyone jokes, but Ditka was tremendous with transparency. You see this, buddy? This is your fucking IQ. How many of us wanted to say that when we watch these pressers and they're asked, what was your thoughts about the Packers? And like, it didn't even matter to it. If the coach stood up there and it's about football, you think Shane's boy, Nick Saban, has time to worry about people's feelings in regards to the quarterback competition he had at halftime? Goodbye. We're in the national fucking championship. Tua, get in there. Hurts. You're done. You're not. That's coaching. What are we doing here with this political banter? There is no pandemic. What is there? Those are the Democrats. No, this is football. Everybody's on the same border. We're all on the same fucking page. Mitch, you love the game? I'm bringing in Nick Foles because I know this guy's going to fucking work his ass off. He's going to come in here and know the system. And if you're not ready, he's got your job. That's what you said. To him, Nick, same thing to Nick. Nick, come in here. If he's not ready, you are the man. You want to come in here? Are you a competitor, Nick? Hell fucking yeah, I am, coach. Great. I know he's religious and stuff, and he probably wouldn't love my fucking terms, but the reality would be straightforward. Get your fucking ass in there and work your hardest because it's your job then. Because I'm not settling for losing. And every person from Jenkins to Gibson to freaking Khalil Mack to Leno to Massey, Montgomery, Allen Robinson all get the same message. Winning is the most important thing. Winning is the most important thing. And that's what I didn't hear in that passive political banter with the quarterback competition.
Just to add to my thought, because I saw that Bellissimo said that quarterbacks can't be that type of alpha male, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. But you think that Tom Brady wouldn't be fucking pissed off if he would fucking yeah. And I'm talking about the 6th round Tom Brady, if he would have faltered a little bit and been benched for Drew Bledsoe or whoever. All of the great quarterbacks have the same Michael Jordan will to win. And so that's what I'm asking for when you're assessing talent, when you are at any fucking position. quarterback or what have you. And I get it that there's certain mental attributes that you need from certain players. But nonetheless, I still think you need an alpha male in your number one leadership position, and that's quarterback.
Aldo. I mean, did Cade McNown have an alpha energy to him? No.
He was me and only me.
The game didn't fucking matter to him. His fucking contract did. We see this shit. Does Jameis Winston get humbled? Does Jameis Winston, he was the man all throughout his life. High school, college, first round pick, lick your fan. We're going to, all that shit. Is he humbled now? How does he go to the Saints? His story's got to be written. That's the fucking alpha, Barlissimo. The quarterback is the fucking... Jim McMahon was a fucking alpha. You kidding me? The Bears don't win without that fucking guy. I don't give a shit how great that defense was. He gets overlooked all the time. That's fucking alpha. Games on the fucking line, step up to the pocket, take one in the fucking throat, and deliver it. Guess what? When the offensive linemen's turning around, helping your ass up, they're going to fucking play better the next play. They're going to play better the next play because you showed them this shit matters. Mitch is going to define who he is in that camp. If it's even, I'm telling you, I believe in this kid. I've never hidden from it. I've given you all the fucking smoking guns and evidence I can. If I can't change your opinion, that's fine. But I know it's on Mitch now to decide how he's going to handle this.
And that's
competition.
All you want as a competitor, as a professional athlete. You don't want to have to rely on everything outside of you. Mitch is in control. Yes, the guys have to catch the ball, they have to block and everything. But this is the biggest issue, and we always revert back to this. And if you watch the chat for 4 minutes and just read the comments, nobody is saying that Mitch has to be held accountable, just like the head coach, just like the offensive line does. It's one or the other. It's everything's all on Mitch or everything's all on Matt Nagy. And that's just not true. It's not. It doesn't matter. I don't care what camp you're in, but there's fundamental flaws on both sides. There was with Matt Nagy. There was with Ryan Pace. There was with Mitch Trubisky. There was with the offensive line. There was with Harry Hiestand. It's not just a one or the other issue. And that's where Bears fans and Bears barflies, that's where they're wrong, is that they've settled into an either or camp rather than it's a little bit of everybody not pulling together, not doing their job. And that's what it is. It's not one or the other. It's not. No way around that. I don't care what anybody says.
No, last year's problems were not that. Every game you'd watch, it was a different guy making a mistake after each play.
It's not all on Mitch.
And that's not to excuse make for Mitch. And that's what the people that don't like Mitch can't stand about someone like me that is considered a Mitch truther to say. If I'm pointing out, hey, on this down they dropped a pass, on the next down they missed a block, on the next down they're running to the short side of the field. It's like one after the other. And then when they finally get going, the kicker misses the kick. It never ended. It's called Murphy's Law. As a Cub fan, I've been used to it my whole life. You know, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And when you're a bad football team, that's what starts to happen. In the Replacements movie, quicksand, that's what it becomes. You just can't escape it sometimes. And the Bears became a victim to it last year. As much as they tried to scratch and claw their way to a pitiful 8-8, which felt like a 4-12 season. You know, that's what happens. All the different little plays. As I've said a million times, Herm Edwards saying the difference between a 6-10 team and a 10-6 team is about 5 plays. That's what it always comes down to. For the Bears, it was like 35 terrible plays. You know, that's how it goes in football.
12 years grunt. It's a team sport. How many times do we say that? How many times do I say that on The Tape Never Lies? Can't do everything without being a team. So it's important to be a team player. Stop being little bitches on the sideline. You got to be strong, understand the reality of competition, and step up to it. You can't just put it all on Mitch. It's not stealing Greg's thing. I've said it. Greg kind of is my friend because I've given him evidence to his drop there. It's not all on Mitch. It never has been all on Mitch. And if anybody said that more so than Greg, it would be me. So here's the big elephant in the room. The big elephant in the room has been the head coach, but it's not all on him either. In the ultimate team sport, you gotta have a little bit of luck too. There's gotta be that. It's an oblong ball. It bounces a certain way. You had how many turnovers in 2018 did you have? How many turnovers? Was it 30, 29? What was it? 39 takeaways? Something crazy. Think about how many possessions that is. How that gets you to the level, how that it's so recency and unconsciousness that people like manipulate the truths of things. That's why I said to Aldo, this show has to exist because I gotta fucking say the truth because I see too many narratives being drawn up by 670 the score in the morning, the day after the game. They're telling a completely different story than what I saw. And then we go to last call and we react to it. So to alleviate that, then we get to this show and we talk about it and we've watched the tape and we know the situations for what they truly are. I can't think of a game where Mitch threw 4 picks and the team lost because Mitch's poor fucking play. I can't think of that game. Show me that. I could think of Rex Grossman doing that. I could think of Kyle Orton doing it. I could think of other quarterbacks doing it.
Just say Jay Cutler. Don't forget
Jay Cutler. Thank you.
And Mitch has had them too.
I've never seen Mitch throw 4 picks, be totally overwhelmed in a game, and that cost your team. Right. Somebody show me it. It's never happened. The fucking technical stuff, the left foot going out, the technical shitty footwork or mechanical issues.
Yeah,
yes.
About the closest to that was the Rams game.
Or the Broncos.
The Broncos, he comes in at the end of the game and fucking delivers for you. No one talks about that.
Right.
He steps up, fucking clock's ticking out, has the presence of mind to call timeout, all the things we forgot to get you. Mitch is going to be all right.
Never mind the fact that it started that drive with a penalty.
Exactly.
That's a long time ago. But that's what I've always liked about the kid. He's got moxie, in my opinion. Everybody looks at him and thinks he's a pussy. I don't see that. I see a guy that's got moxie that was extremely frustrated with his play and maybe the play of others. I don't know. But I've always seen a guy that steps up in the moments. Everybody wants to get annoyed by the truther for bringing up the playoff game. But yeah, that's the microcosm of Mitch. The first half, he could have easily thrown 4 picks if you run back the tape in that game. But in the second half, he plays like this, lights out Pro Bowler, man in the clutch, making all the biggest throws, even when all doubt was, pushed across the whole stadium when the Eagles scored with a minute some odd left. There was only a few guys not giving up, and one of them was Mitch. So I put a lot of stock into that. He's been on the team for 3 years. Last year was pitiful, but I'm not going to forget his great moments too. That's not how it works. You're going to look at the full picture, and let's see how he does in this competition. When he faced Mike Glennon in whatever you want to call that, and I know Mike was going to get it, pretty much barring anything, but to Mitch, it was a competition, and I thought he walked around with a certain kind of moxie that preseason because I thought in his mind he thought he deserved the job, but he's a rookie, so he's not going to run around saying it. So he held the pro line. So I expect to see a Mitch with a chip on his shoulder. Does that mean he's going to complete the passes or make the reads or run the RPOs correctly? I don't know. But I expect a quarterback with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I still got some tape that I want to react to, and I know Shane has some limited time. How much more can you stay with us, Shane?
Yeah, I'm good for like 10, 15.
Okay. I would love to get your reaction to this soundbite from Matt Nagy before you leave. And this is again from the Waddle and Sylvie show. And I think it was Sylvie that asked the question, when did it go from Mitch not being the guy to potentially, when did it go from Mitch being the guy to potentially not being the guy?
So I want to ask you specifically, Coach, when did Mitch go from being the guy to competing to be the guy?
Yeah. So the way we look at this thing is every year is different, right? And things there's opportunities that present itself, and for us, we're always at personnel between Ryan and his staff, coaches. After the season, you're always having exit meetings. You're talking about everything. And the one thing that I've always learned from Coach Reed that I believe in wholeheartedly is you always start with yourself. So that's what I did. So when the season ended, I after exit meetings, I started with myself, and I really started reflecting as to where did I fail in regards to that, for us to go 8-8 and not make the playoffs. How could I have been better? And so I did that, and I spent days on that. And so then it just transitions into coaches and exit meetings with them and the players, and then Ryan and myself, and you just start talking about everything. And so now what you need to do is you just need to decide, okay, at every position, where are we at? And if this happened or that happened, will we do it? Will we not? And across the board. And so I can't specifically tell you there's a day, here or there, but for us, we feel like what this is going to do, Sylvie, is this is going to it's going to help bring the best out of Mitch. It's going to help bring the best out of Nick, right? What we got to do is we got to make sure that we make it as fair as possible, as honest and open, right? As healthy as possible. Because if we do that and we bring those guys in, which we've done, and we let them compete when we get on that football field, it will make us a better football team. I fully believe that, because Mitch, okay, with what he's done, in the last 3 years, and I know, he gets a lot of heat for where he's at, and you could go a lot of different ways on that. But for Mitch, I'm really proud of the way that he's handled himself here since the end of the season. And you go and you trade for somebody, right? And then you have a 5th-year option that you don't do. And so that's challenging. But you know what? We've had some really, really good conversations. And they were also quick, because right now, all he's focused on doing is moving forward. That's the past. He's had an unbelievable mentality, and he's going to need that to be the greatest quarterback he can be. Nick, the same thing. He comes in. What a crazy career he's had, right? What a crazy year in 2019 he just had. So we have an opportunity to get him. We get him, and now here's 2 good people that are competing for one spot. What it's not going to be is unhealthy or toxic, okay, because of who the people are. What it is going to be is really damn competitive. And what it is going to be is something that drives our players on offense, okay, and defense and special teams, and they see, wow, if they're competing at the quarterback position, I better get my tail ready to compete at my position. And you're seeing that other places as well. So competition is healthy. You sit here and you watch The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, right, and you see the way he practices, you see the way he talks to teammates, you see the way he competes his tail off. How does that not give you goosebumps if you're a player playing a sport right now? And that's what we're going to do and when we get back on that football field.
If Shane had to leave 5 minutes,
yeah, that's the perfect.
That's the one I was referring to. He just there's some things I like in that, but my God, does he have a way of getting to the point sometimes?
He did
especially
not
when he's talking
answer
about
the
Trubisky.
question.
Yeah, he talked for 10 minutes and said nothing.
He's
Yeah, do you guys watching The Last Dance?
Well, what he's saying
Michael
is
Jordan
competition.
practices?
He's saying competition.
Great.
He's saying competition.
That's one of the things
but the
that I
answer.
look back at from last year.
He's still going.
Wait a minute. Let Shane get his point
that I
in.
made a decision to do in the preseason.
Jesus,
is
what
that.
Oh,
That's what we heard. We thought he was still going with his answer.
Yeah, I thought he was.
I thought you paused.
Sylvie should have bounced back with, and we know how Michael practiced, but we also saw Phil Jackson, who wasn't scared to hold people accountable no matter who they were, and to give forthright answers. And it's This is exactly what I talked to about buttering their asses up. And Mitch is, this is who we're going to be in practice. We're going to be like Michael Jordan. Shut up. No, you're not. You're not going to be like Michael Jordan in practice. You either have that's instilled in you, or you don't. That's why Michael Jordan is who he is. It's not Matt Nagy's not going to learn to be like that. Mitch isn't going to learn to be like that. That's not who Mitch is. You see Mitch when he's up on the podium talking to people. That's not who he is at all. And just be honest. Get up there and if you say something that could be taken as controversial because you were very short and maybe it came off as rude, so be it. If Mitch has an adverse reaction to a statement that you made on the radio, Coach Nagy, then that tells you all you need to know about Mitch Trubisky. If Nick Foles gets upset about something that you said to Waddle and Sylvie, Coach Nagy, tells you all you need to know about Nick Foles. Can't worry about feelings. Just like Phil said, I don't care what your feelings are. If there's a competition, if you're upset by that, then you're not going to be here. You're not worth it. It's just, this is where this organization, they fail. Do you think that the Eagles are worried about Carson Wentz and his feelings? Their first pick was a quarterback this year. Wentz is 27? And he's had injuries? Yes, it's important. It's the most important position. If you don't get it right, you're going to be in NFL hell for 101 years. Like we have been. I will never understand why they're so scared and pussyfooting around quarterbacks' feelings about what they're saying. We tell our guys to tune out the media. Don't listen to the outside. But when I go on the outside and start talking, I'm going to butter your ass up because I'm afraid it's going to affect you. Doesn't make any sense. They're round and round we go, and we go nowhere.
Totally agree.
I agree.
Totally
That's
agree.
what you hear in that
The question
rambling.
was this, and I'll ask Greg. When you get confronted and say we make fun of you, do you dance around that subject or do you answer it straightforward? The question was, when did you decide that you were going to bring somebody in here basically to compete with Mitch Trubisky? He goes for 7 minutes talking about everything under the sun of sport, including competition, never says, well, you know what? After looking at the season, he needs to be better. And so I looked at it as a whole and decided that we needed to bring competition out of here to get Mitch to where he needs to be. That's the show. Why is it so hard, to Shane's point? It's like bitching about being misquoted. Confront the quote.
If he was in that interview and Sylvie said to Nagy, hey, Coach, how come things didn't work out with Harry Heastan as your offensive line coach? You know what his response would be? It would be the same thing. It would be 5 to 7 minutes of him saying nothing but complimentary things about Harry Heastan, rather than just coming out and saying, you know what, we had some disagreements on the way that things were going to be blocked up in my offense. We couldn't come to an agreement, so we moved on because that's what was best for the Bears. Stop right there. Next question.
Well, that's to me the Mike. That's where you can hear this. That's where you can hear the psychology of it in the interview with Waddle and Sylvie. They did a great job. Him and Jesse Rogers was filling in for Waddle for the day. And on the question where Jesse holds his feet to the fire, Aldo has the audio. The answer is about preseason. His answer is 1 minute, and it's succinct, and it's I made a mistake.
Him
boom.
Yes, because it's on
exactly.
him.
He's gonna protect the players. Go look back at the Cody Parkey post game after he hit 4 goalposts in one game against Detroit. It was a 5-minute answer of how they're gonna have Cody's back. This is who he is to his core, and I guess it kind of, like I said, it dips into the psychology of he's just trying to let everyone know the door is not closed for Mitch. He doesn't want to just say that because people are going to come at him about how much money they're paying Nick, but that's what he's saying, or else it would be just a succinct answer.
When did you decide? When did you decide? I decided during the season.
He does say there's no specific time where that was bullshit. Like, yeah, I agree.
Well, here, this guy over here, the thing, Quentin Carey talking about Nagy's play calling was so on point. I saw you put it up, his quote from the chat about the mistakes. He tried to make big splash plays, and then once you try to do, there you go. When Murphy's Law he's using popped all the time, and that's the reality of this. So if you're trying to make big splash plays on the football field, do it in front of the camera as well, and say the concise truth of your quote. You know, your answer should be concise. Like, I know exactly when I decided to take a certain player out of the game. I know exactly when I want to run a trick play based on the situation of the football game. You can't lie to the media, yourself, and your team. It doesn't set a good precedence. Go back to last week with John Jenkins. You want those players to love and respect you. They might not like what they're hearing from you, but they're certainly going to respect. Oh shit, Coach Phil, he don't fucking mince his words. He's going to tell you the truth, and it's going to be exactly how it's drawn out. So if he says, hey, we decided at the very end of the fucking season that we're going to bring competition in here to get the best out of Mitch and this football team, that's the end of the answer. That diatribe of back talk and backpedaling, all of that shit is embarrassing, to be perfectly honest. So it's that 2 steps forward, 3 steps back with Nagy, because I didn't hear that quote, Aldo, until just now, and I'm like, holy fuck.
Right.
Holy shit.
Can I keep you just a little while longer? I want you, Shane, to hear what Matt Nagy said about playing time for the veterans. This is the coach.
That's one of the things that I look back at from last year that I'm not happy about, that I made a decision to do in the preseason. Is that, and I feel like why. There's number one, I think it's good for them to have it. But number two, it sets a mentality. And so that's not going to happen this year. We're going to be a physically tough team. We are going to be a mentally tough team. They understand that. They're going to be tired of hearing about that. They're going to be tired of hearing about attacking and aggressive. They're going to be tired of hearing about details. But yes, you're right. I look back and I say, if I could change something in 2019, it would be playing our starters more, 100%.
Well, I got to believe that's encouraging to hear, right?
It is. You got to give him credit. Like we started off the show with that. You have to give him credit at least. If we're gonna bag on the guy for his faults and how he handles some things the right way, you have to send some sunshine his way for this. And it's an enormous issue. That's an issue, right, Phil?
That's an issue,
right? And we know it's been this way for so long under him, and it never has made any sense. I'm still going to refer, and I know I said it earlier, to the most important player on the team in your quarterback, who you traded up for and said it was going to take this franchise moving forward, that he said that he craves reps. Yes, I know that means reps in preseason, in practice, and in OTAs, but listen, live bullets are the best bullets when you're trying to learn something. And it's when you're in a live period in training camp, it's not like when you're going against another team, even in a preseason game. And when you're taking those away from a guy we know that is inexperienced, and he's coming out and telling you exactly what he wants. You ever hear the coach say, yeah, we went to Mitchell and he showed me the plays that he loves. You know what I love about Mitchell? He said he doesn't like this play. So you know what we did? We threw it out. But then you have the same guy coming to you and saying, I crave reps, but Mitch, we're going to scale these back. We don't want to get you hurt. Doesn't matter.
I love that they also have added joint practices back. That's another change from the 2018-2019 season. They didn't have a joint practice last year. They had an opportunity to do that against the Colts. The Colts were their third preseason game. They could have taken a bus. I would have bussed them over there. You got to think though that back.
Even if they go to training camp, don't you have to? Do you think that that's going to be? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they actually go through.
Because they're going to go to Denver for 2 practices, and then they play them in the third preseason game. And I think that's going to be huge for the competition.
I get that point of it. I'm talking about with the COVID and everything like that. I'm wondering if they're not going to scale that back and then maybe.
Why do you got to fucking remind me about the damn virus?
Yeah, but I mean, I think I would be. Hopefully it does, because I think you're right, Greg. I think it's vitally important for things like that. But at the same time, with the nature of the world that we're living in right now, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe something like that doesn't get scrapped.
Fuck a play.
Yeah.
Fuck a pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Shane, you let me know when you want to sign off. I've got just a couple of more sound bites here to play. Well, actually, just one more.
Yep. Yeah, I'm good for that.
Excellent. This is there's been a lot of talk in the chat room about this. This is Coach Nagy talking about Cole Kmet, and he was asked to make a comparison between him and Travis Kelce and their early rookie years. And this is Coach.
In regards to Travis, when we started there in Kansas City, Travis is a very cool and unique personality in a lot of different ways, and he lets that show on the field. It took a little bit of time for Travis to get going. Like you said, he had the injury, and then he started kind of creating his own personality to his player. But I'll never forget, we threw a post route down the middle to Travis, and he caught the ball in the preseason, and he outran a safety in a corner for about a 60-yard touchdown. And that's when we knew, okay, wow. Now, is Cole Kmet that? No, that's not who he is. They're different styles. But at the same time, what we see in Cole is a player that, whether it's the Y position, the U position, we look at him as more of a Y that can play U. And the ceiling for him is so high because, number one, he wants it. And all these speakers that we talk to and that we listen to that are really great at the positions they played in different sports, the one thing is they got that one. They got that little different thing to make him great. He has that. And there's just, I said it yesterday in one of my discussions. I have yet to trump him in a Zoom meeting on a question. I can't trick him. He knows it all. And so, number one, some of the advice that was given to these young players heading into 2020 right now is to understand your playbook in 2020 is going to be the most important thing you can do than any other year, because you don't have a lot of time and you don't have the ability for coaches to see what you can and can't do on that field. This kid has that. I will guarantee you, I'll put it out there, he will know this playbook inside out. That's not going to be the issue, right? What he's going to have to grow with is understanding the defenses in the NFL, understanding how strong, a defensive end is that he's going to have to block as a 9 technique or a 7-eye technique on a blast play to the outside. It's different what the speed's like, when the ball comes on you, when the coverage changes. And he'll do that because he has the one. So when you see that ceiling of somebody like Cole, you see the personality, you see the size, the strength, the makeup, all that. How do you not get excited about that? I am, and I'm looking forward to his future.
How do you guys feel about Nagy's evaluation of Cole Kmet?
Listen, the first thing that pops into my head when I hear that is it takes me right back to the quarterback issue, where he understands how vitally important the quarterback is, obviously. So he wants to make sure that everything, the niceties are prepared, and we're going to say all great things. He knows that Cole Kmet is a huge part of what the Bears are going to be doing this year. So just, I in terms of, I can't trump the kid in a Zoom meeting. I don't care about that. I know a lot of the meatheads will be like, oh, fuck, Komet, there he goes. This is what we need. Just come out and say, Cole's been transitioning to what we've been doing with these Zoom meetings. Well, he's a great kid. That's why we believe in him. That's why we drafted him that high. I wish Nagy would just be more point blank, like Greg was saying, on some of the stuff, rather than, you notice when he wants to be positive and throw bouquets at a guy, he talks for 5 minutes. And when he wants to be succinct and to the point about something where he knows that it was a mistake, it's 30 seconds to a minute. Just, I don't know. The throwing bouquets. I don't care that you. How many times do you think he actually tried to trump Cole Kmet in a Zoom meeting? Once or twice, maybe tops. You know what I mean? Do you think that was the sole focus of the meeting? I think it's just a lot of sunshine and rainbows and, placating to the meathead Bears fans that are hoping that this kid's the next Ditka. You know what I mean? 85 and fucking that whole shit again. But
well, I hope he is Ditka.
I hope he's better than Ditka.
Well, I agree with Shane there. I mean, that's just hyping up a soundbite to the fan base. And again, it is what it is. The field is a Zoom right now. So
he's Mike Norris. He's Mike Norris lineage. So
he's the third.
He's Mike Norris bloodline. So we got good bloodline. Barroom bloodline. We could be in
trouble there.
But, hey, we're not audio anymore, so he can see how many people are on the show.
Hi, Mike. I'm here.
Hey, Uncle Mikey.
Uncle Mike. I'm sending you a shout out, Mike. Listen to Mike Norse.
All right. Hey, Greg, do you have stuff from the chat room that you want to share?
I got all the best chats. I didn't know if we were doing shout outs or not, but I always do my job here at Bears 100 Proof. So, yeah, I have best comments.
Okay, I just checking because I asked
Julio.
a question an hour ago in the private chat, and you never responded.
Oh, I don't ever look at that.
Yeah,
because I'm monitoring the live chat.
No,
I only go in there. I only go in there when I want to tell you to let me back into the.
Yes, I noticed that.
I think this guy in the chat, Julio Iktan, is actually translating what we're saying to other people that are trying to listen in their foreign language.
Is that right?
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing.
I was wondering what that was earlier.
So that's what he's doing. It's kind of summarizing.
Aldo's got to add subtitles to our feed here for our international crowd.
For the international.
Well, like normally
worldwide.
you can, like on Twitter, you can hit translate tweet when it comes in a different language, and I was like looking for that option here. Well, no, but earlier he was posting things in a different language.
Yeah,
I was hoping you could click a button where it would translate.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. Thank you, Julio.
All righty.
What kind of cup do you got, Phil?
I have the cup that you gave me.
Look at this. Look at.
Nobody gave me a cup.
We got the same cup. Cheers.
That.
Cheers.
Who's that, Aldo, with fire?
Beautiful.
He's got fire coming out of his hands. Does Foles have fire coming out of his hands? Come on now.
Does Matt Miller know who this guy is? I don't know.
Matt Miller. Hopefully he's brushing up on his safeties.
There's your safety right there. Eddie Jackson.
We're holding up cups. Hold on.
Can we bring those comics back and get the stupid Lemonhead things out of here? Oh my God. Please don't keep those things all season. I notice they keep using them in different. Can they go away?
You know that's happening.
Can we go away with that? Oh my God.
We all have been asking.
It's not just a barroom thing. I mean, look at the comments of the initial video.
Oh, really?
The people have spoken. It's unanimous.
Uh-oh. Look at that.
Acevedo.
That's some swag.
It's a gift from Mr. Alex Acevedo.
Look at this dude.
Yeah,
where's the Fat Mike tumbler?
Coming to a swag shop near you.
All right, Shane, respect for your time. You want to start off first with shout outs?
Yeah, no, I appreciate everybody getting up early with us. We talked about doing this, and since Nagy met with everybody in his black on black Bears cave, and wanted to bring you guys some more content, and that's what we're here for, and that's what we're going to do moving forward. So I appreciate everybody getting up early and seeing that Barroom was hitting the airwaves, and appreciate everybody coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Outstanding.
Short and sweet.
That's right.
I'm going to do quick, Aldo.
All right.
I want to shout out Kate Lowry helping Alex Acevedo create some of the designs. Shout out to her helping with the Smartest Man t-shirt design that we're going to be coming out with in the swag shop. Like I said, Anthony Sasso, Luigi Zaccarelli, Rami Abdelhadi, who is for the Chicago Bears, Bears Diehard. I forget the name of the group on Facebook. I'm sorry, but Rami is posting all our stuff on the Facebook pages because that's what this is about. It's about sharing and caring about the subject matter. I'm very proud of the time and effort and energy that I put into the show. And I know Aldo puts mad hours. In fact, I think he only had 2 hours of sleep putting all this shit together. That's the fucking truth. Look at him holding the fucking Emmy Award. He deserves. Look at that.
Acevedo made that for him too.
Not available in the
But I really, I just,
and
my
maybe
guys,
when George told me to fill my boots, maybe that's what he was talking about. He wants me to throw your Emmy in there, Aldo. I don't know what he.
Maybe. I don't know either.
Oh, Jesus. But anyway, we work hard. That's why we want you guys to share our product. Go to the swag shop. It's right there. You can get a Tape Never Lies, Bears Barroom, and it's building up more and more. Like I said, Shane, the Smartest Man, Barfly shirt that Aldo has on is going to be in there. So everything you guys do supports us and to make this product even better. Lucas Perfetti, Mark Egan, my boys in the chat. I was looking for his name last week. Mitch Galloway. Mitch, you're a truther. I appreciate your words, your kindness, and you make me and everyone in this, talk and want to make this the best it possibly can be, this show. Sandy Tom from Scotland, he sent me I'm going to send it to you, Aldo. He sent me a whole rundown on his thoughts. He's been with us since the beginning of Bears Barroom, and with the move to video, he's just so super excited about 100 Proof, the standard for Bears Barroom, and also what we're going to do. And he gives a whole rundown of what he thought about all the shows. My boy Kostas from Athens, Greece. Kostas, you might be in there watching now. Shout out to you. Steve Zimmerman getting a shout out. Loving the video. Jay Watts 89 on Insta. Paulie Coasters, Adrian's masterpiece. My boy Jay Jablonski up in upstate New York. Shane, upstate New York.
Jablonski.
He's one of the fucking greatest.
Polish sausage. Jablonski.
Jablonski. And Chris Sandlin, you are a super barfly. I appreciate you coming in here. Chris Gonzalez, my boy Chubbs 82, Vito Fiello, you guys, Brad Chambers, Ron Schwaders, Michael Pope, and there's Alberto Valdez, Andrew Tarble. How can I forget him? Buying the Tape Never Lies t-shirt and showing it on Facebook. I need you guys to do that. Roger Lembrex, when you buy it, send Alex a little picture because I want to put together a little fun promo and we'll play it here on 100 Proof. And my last shout out is someone in the chat, and it's so weird that he just fucking said something in the chat, and that's Chicago's Finest. Your words I saw on YouTube in your lengthy commentary. I appreciate what you do in life, protecting people, going out there and serving the community, and to say what you think about the show and everything that we do here. It really means a lot to me personally that you would love this show that much and what it does for you during your job or when you're off duty as a police officer in Chicago. It's got to be one of the most difficult jobs to do in the Windy City there. So I just wanted to thank you for the shout out. And Alex Acevedo, keep doing what you're doing, buddy. That guy, real quick, Aldo. Sorry, Shane. Did it on his own. He decided to do the swag thing on his own, and it's growing and getting bigger to the point where we're going to have a website. I mean, to do that as a fan, as a person, I get goosebumps about that. I was talking to him yesterday. I go, what you did really meant a lot to me as a man, as a father, because it's helped me out. And that really means a lot to me because you surround yourself with good people. My father always said it, and good things will happen. And Alex, what you're doing for the swag shop and Bears fans out there, every fucking person that's purchased something was like, either sent me something private, like Alex is fucking great. Alex got it to me in 2 days. Alex is communicating. That's what we want. Our product is going to only get better. Love you guys. I've done my rant. Love the show. Love you, Aldo. This was awesome today. We just did it on a whim, and that's what you can expect. So when we do go to Patreon to give you more, that's what this is about, as well as help the show and us. Sorry, my wife or my sons are moving chairs up there.
Shane, remember when he said real quick?
Yeah.
This was real quick.
I love you guys. Shane,
dealing with real quick for 20 plus years, Greg. So I know the game.
I'm starting to understand that.
How do you think I got twins? It was real quick.
So, I guess I got my shout outs for the comments today. We had well over 100 people in the chat. So shout out to the chat room as your chatterbaiter. It's greatly appreciated. I think there was well over 120, 130 people in the chat. So that's pretty cool for an early Sunday morning with no Bears game on. So first comment of the day of the whole Bears 100 Proof Show was about 30 minutes prior to Kenyon Perry. First comment of the day. Can't wait. Dan the Dirty Bear. I don't know if he's got an account or what, but he was in the chat early on and he said, Shane's got bear-sized balls. Those tweets are crazy. So I don't know if it is Dan the Dirty Bear, but it kind of sounds like him. I miss that guy. I wish he would have made an appearance today. Make sure he comes back Wednesday. I like that guy a lot. GSH Jeff, the winner of our giveaway earlier today, and guess the amount of MPBSs my internet now runs, which is the most of anyone on this show. Thank you very much. 311. He said today's Greggy's Wake and Bake show. So I don't know what you're talking about, Jeff, but that's your comment of the day. Carl Stetter said, turn off your echo, although my head is gonna explode. I thought that was a little extreme, Carl. I mean, it was echoing, but I'm sure your head is just fine. Jeff, lifelong Purdue fan, said, boil her up. I don't know why he said that. Sandlin said, now if we could just get to fixing Braggs' face, then we'll be good. Fat Mike said, a Fat Mike t-shirt is like a car tarp. So that was pretty good. Roger Simmons said, I see you, Phil, with the Biggie t-shirt on. Rest in peace, Biggie. So that was a shout out to your Biggie shirt. If Aldo wants to show it. It was a nice little shout out to who Phil thinks is the better rapper between
Best
Tupac
rapper
and Biggie.
all time.
I happen to disagree. Chubbs82 in the chat said, in Greg's defense, gratuity is like a tip. That is true, Chubbs82. You're always full of infinite knowledge and wisdom in our chat room, and that's why I like you. Logan Sandollar said, Greg is a thesaurus. So, I don't know if I'm a dictionary, a thesaurus, but I'm a lot of things. That's kind of my thing here. I'm a man of many talents. Zach Bradley said, Aldo, I like the new POV camera angle. LOL. You got that kind of Pornhub angle going there for those of you that
My inspiration.
have
He's
happened to
won
stop by.
Emmys. He's
You
won
know, some
Emmys.
people stop by those kind of websites on accident. You never know. Sandlin said, if Nagy isn't learning, then he isn't getting better. That's a good point, Chris, even though I don't like you. Chicago's finest, as Phil said, had a nice comment in the chat, said, need to hear from Phil's dad again. I was ready to play football again, even though I'm an old 46. You're never an old 46, Chicago's finest. You're young and spry. You got to get out and stretch your legs out. It's a beautiful day. Well, I don't know. It was raining earlier. I can't tell. I'm in my garage. So I got a few more for you. I got to always shout out the chat. And last time I screwed it up when my internet kicked me off. So Ralph Tribby said, oh, snap. German soccer league is back on TV. Let's go. If soccer is back, then no doubt NFL will be back this fall. I think that's a great point by Ralph. You know, we've seen a little soccer, take that step. They played a little bit yesterday. I'm sure they were playing this morning. So if they can get going, maybe that is the light at the end of the tunnel for sports in America to coming back. Let's cross our fingers there. Eduardo Miguel said, a Fruit Loops rant. Amazing, Phil. Pure amazing. Tooch said, Nagy constructs a playbook by stealing a Waffle House menu, cutting it up, and taping it everywhere in his house. So I thought that was interesting. Cody Denny said, Riley is a savage. Riley Marsaw, Shane's son, was going to work on me for about 20 minutes in the chat. I got a little scared. I had to back off my rivalry with Riley because he was going pretty hard on me. He had a comment that said, that your mom's at my house, and that kind of hit me in my core, so I had to back off a little. And Riley, Lady Bear said, Riley is winning the chat room right now. So shout out to you, Riley, my worthy enemy. Unlike Sandlin, who had the next comment, Greg just lost 177 MPBSs with that fight with Riley. So Renee Morelli said, rest in peace, Michael McCaskey. So I thought I'd bring that back to the table once again. Shout out to the McCaskey family. I know your thoughts and prayers with you guys and the loss of Michael McCaskey. Former, top dog of the Chicago Bears franchise. Tooch said, I never thought I'd ever be jealous of Braggs' internet in my life. Vicator52 said, the chatterbaiter is preaching the truth. I don't know. At some point, maybe I went on a good rant. Sometimes I black out and get lucky. But that's what we do here at Bears 100 Proof. We preach the truth. We have fun doing it, too. EJ Jones, our good buddy, said something is moving behind Shane and it is freaking me out. I agree. There was something in his window of his doorway, and it was like a ghost or something. I don't know if it was Riley peeking his head around. He's too scared. Come on camera. It was a ghost or what?
It was Michael McCaskey.
Yeah, it was something. Too soon, Aldo. Too soon. Wait for your segment. Jesus Christ. Rick Giovanni said, Rick Giovacchini said, been listening for a while now. Keep it going. Well, we intend to, Rick, and we appreciate the kind words. Chubbs82 is going to finish it off and said, this is interesting, Aldo. The COVID visors is going to be gone. Our country can't sustain being closed till August. The COVID visors, Aldo, is going to be gone. But what he meant to say is the COVID virus. So, but that's okay. Spell check got our boy Chubb. So I thought I'd finish it off. But, thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out. Like I said, well over 100 people for a 2.5, almost 3-hour show now, here in early Sunday morning. So we appreciate you guys hanging out. Yeah. Oh, and then also, if I could add, shout out to Mark Silverman and the Waddle and Sylvie show. Of course, I pulled some clips from that great interview they had with Matt Nagy, where they held his feet to the fire a little bit, on some certain issues, running the ball and preseason and whatnot. So I want to shout out the guys at ESPN 1000 once again, and of course my good friend Mark Silverman. Sylvie Strong, hang in there, buddy, and keep that positive attitude, here at Bears Barroom. And of course myself, we're always there in your corner, buddy. So shout out to you.
Well done, Greg. God, I love it that you're on the show.
Really? Okay. Well, I thought, when I got drunk in the Doug Plank episode, I thought my days were numbered. No, I'm kidding. No, so I'm just stepping up. We're having fun.
I was drunk too, so
I know you're a bad influence. You're a bad influence.
Can't all be as controlled.
You would think
as
that
Aldo.
Phil would be the bad influence, but it's actually Aldo.
Yes, I am definitely a bad influence. All right, I have.
Oh my God, Greg, drunk.
Damn it, Larison!
I just had
He had to come. He had to be. He had to make one Larison appearance.
My boy. So
I'm
yes.
sorry. I have put up on the screen what's happening on Monday and Tuesday here at Bears Barroom. It is Fat Mike's show, and on Tuesday it is Shy Fans in the Stands. We are back here. The 100 Proof Gang is back here on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central. Right now, the only video programming that we have at Bears Barroom, but in the future we'll be migrating more shows. We want to perfect what we are doing here with 100 Proof before we bring in other shows to video. This is, quite complicated, as Phil can tell you, because when you are editing video together, it takes a while. That stupid little echoey open took me a number of hours last night, and I'm disappointed that the audio wasn't good.
I think the audio's coming back into your. That's what was going on, because it happened again when you came in to talk about Nagy.
Okay, it happened.
It happened because your mic was on, so I think your mic was picking up. So maybe that. See, this is how we do it, guys.
That's exactly what happened, Phil. Good.
That's exactly why. So next time you just mute your mic. Your video will play seamlessly.
Yes. Beyond that, I also want to let people know that we are working on reopening the website. Yes. We have got some exciting news. My nephew, Harry, who is a website expert, has some time available now. And so he helped us build the last website. And so we are coming back with a whole new redesigned look. And we've also got Chris Gonzalez, one of the Barflies, has volunteered to help. So I am super excited about that, because I think that's a component of the Bears Barroom that is necessary to help promote our work, but also provide you with more content. And so if anybody likes to write and anybody likes to edit video and so forth, and you want to do some volunteer work for the Barroom, just hit me up at Bears Barroom on our Twitter account. Love all you guys. Love you, Draft Dr. Phil. And why don't you conclude the show with your comments, Phil?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, bring Greg back in. Is he here?
Yeah, bring me back. God damn it.
Damn. Those blue eyes. He's like Frank Sinatra's long-lost bastard child.
I'm getting pretty burly with this beard. 67-day beard.
Keep growing it out until it's over.
I said I wasn't going to cut my hair or my beard until they let me back into a game, but now I'm starting to regret saying that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it.
Don't take back your word. Keep going.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Guys, I just want to thank everybody for jumping in, tuning in. Ed Loya. Yes, my wife cut my hair. It's not perfect. I actually helped. But it's better than I hate not having a haircut and barber. But anyway, I just want to thank everybody for coming out, joining us on this Sunday morning edition of Bears 100 Proof. Always keeping it 100, always giving you the breakdown, analysis, and the truth all over now on Twitter, on Facebook Live, on YouTube. As you're watching here, all the comment on Twitch. We're going to keep bringing it. Love you guys. You're all out here today in the COVID. We need this. This is therapy for 2 hours and 44 minutes, and my wife is trying to whip into shape 2 twins, so I gotta hustle up there. I can hear all the chaos. So I love you guys. Thanks for keeping it 100. We'll keep it 100 again on Wednesday night. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So some surprises. Go over to the swag shop.
Yes.
Look at that.
Ooh.
I like this. Musical director. James Malsaw. Producer. Do the voice, babe. Associate producer. How did he get it?
Associate producer Greg Braggs with 3 freaking G's in his first name.
How did he have 3?
Segment producer John Santucci.
Segment producer.
Joe Mandel voice.
100 proof the executive producer. Hello. Look at that.
Beautiful work, Aldo.
Love it.
Bear down.
A Bears ballroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Every week on 100 proof, even if the Bears win or lose. A Bears ballroom.
That was great.